Okay, so welcome everybody to the session on Mezuzahs. And we can discuss on tefillin also. It's not really directly relevant to you. But in Mitzvah, when you get married, so it is. I don't know, are you guys married or not married?
Most are
single. Most are single. Okay, Mitzvah. This will be listening to this about tefillin. It'll be a special bracha to get married. Because really, when the husband has tefillin, it actually brings shmirah to the entire household, not just to the husband, not just to the man who's wearing it. It brings shmirah to the entire house. Interesting to point out, we see the idea of shmirah by tefillin just like by mezuzah. Anybody knows what this stands for? The back of the mezuzah. What does it say over here? Very good. Shem Medas is a show, which means that Hashem protects the doorpost of the Jewish people, right? On tefillin, we have the same thing. We have the shin, right? And then I didn't bring the whole set of tefillin, but on the back of the daled, on the back of the kesher, you have a daled, and on the hand tefillin, you have a little yud. So it also have shin, daled, yud. So tefillin also is the idea of shmir. And we have constantly people coming to us with stories, bringing us tefillin and mezuzahs, and we find that it's something which had to be corrected, or there was an non-kosher tefillin, a non-kosher mezuzah, and when we correct it, very often we hear amazing stories. Not always do we hear the stories, and not everybody tells us their story. Sometimes it's private. But we hear a lot of stories, almost on a weekly basis, of absolute miracles, which will blow your mind. I can tell you a story which happened, which is recent. The person that the story happened to publicized it, so it could be they even heard the story. His name is Sean Greenberg from Detroit. His shver is Shmatkin. He lives as a shliach over there in Detroit. And he sent us his mezuzahs. He had 5 mezuzahs in his house. He's a young married guy. He's been married for less than 2, like a year and a half. And the mezuzahs coming to us. And one of my guys who check, he comes over to me and says, "You recognize the mezuzah?" So I tell him, yes, I recognize it. It's actually the writing of this Ukrainian sofer. I don't know if you heard the story, but there was a guy that was writing, someone from Ukraine who was living in Israel, Fishi Chabad. He ended up going off the way, became totally not religious. And he was writing, and he's writing a lot of mezuzah and tefillin. Thank you. He's producing tremendous quantities of tefillin and mezuzahs. And Rabbi Brian, the Bezdin, a year ago, put out a whole thing that people should be aware of it and put pictures of it. People should know. So I recognize the writing. You guys heard about this? Or is this new? Yeah. You heard about it. Some of you did, some of you didn't. It was a whole scandal. This guy, he actually reached out to me a few years ago to buy from him, and it was a very attractive price because it was quite cheap. And I asked him, "Who are you?" He said, "Sofer, I live next to Hadich." So I said, "How do I know that you're reliable? Like, just because you're writing mezuzahs, which look nice, doesn't mean that's kosher. Doesn't mean that you're good. Doesn't mean you're Yiras Shomayim." He said, "Speak to the shluchim in the area." I called them up, and they all said they have no idea. They cannot take a chrais on this guy. They don't vouch for him. He lives in the middle of nowhere. He lives in a city where there's no yidden over there. He lives like 45 minutes away from Hadich. And they wouldn't take a chrais. So I stayed away, Baruch Hashem. A year or 2 later, it came out this whole thing. So I was very happy that I was careful. So what happens is I look at this guy's writing. I see that the mezuzahs are from this sofer, from this Ukrainian sofer, totally non-kosher.
Every person has their own style.
Very distinct writing. Yes, every sofer has his writing. So if you recognize that person's writing, then you can know who wrote the mezuzah. I won't always know who wrote it, but if I know that particular writing, then I can tell. Just for example, let's say you have a friend who they have a very specific kind of, when they write English or Hebrew, whatever it is, you could tell, I know that's my friend's writing, right? In your class. I remember as a kid, I would be able to recognize this boy had this kind of writing, because it's very, everybody has their handwriting, their style. See the mezuzahs, and I straight away call him up. I said, "Rabbi Greenberg," I said, "Are you aware that your mezuzahs are from this and this scribe?" He's like, "I don't believe it." He was shocked. His mezuzahs are from this scribe. From the Ukrainian scribe, I told him. From the Ukrainian sefer. And he straight away, he knew what I was talking about. He obviously heard about this whole thing from the year before. I said, "Is everything okay?" And he was quiet. And he says, "Actually not." I didn't ask him anything. He said, "Do me a favor." He said, "Could you mail to me overnight, UPS, the best mezuzah you have?" So I said, "Okay." And that's what I did. 2 weeks later, he calls me up. He said, "You should just know, my wife had a baby 5 months ago." This story happened like 2 or 3 months ago. So we're talking about he had a baby, 8 months ago. And my wife is not healing. The wound is not getting better, right? She had a baby, and she's going through tremendous pain. You should all, Mitzvah, have that experience of having a baby, but not without the pain. Without the pain, I mean, obviously, without having basically, usually, you have a baby, and then after a week or two, it gets better, right? This woman, 5 months later, she's going through hell and literally not bearable. And she went to doctors and she went to this, and they sent her to some faraway hospital. They said, go to this place and, you'll go through a surgery and it's going to help. But it's going to be very painful. The painful part came true, but the helping didn't help. They said the surgery was successful and everything's fine, but but she's still in pain. And she's on very, very high painkillers and she's in miserable pain and they don't know what to do. They went to the oil, asked for bracha. And he tells me, he's like, my wife is in crazy pain and nothing's helping. And they don't know what to do. And he says, you call me 3 days or a few days after she had the surgery, going to a checkup. And you said, is everything okay? And I was like, whoa. And he's like thinking to himself, maybe something going on with the mezuzahs. He said the next day, after the mezuzahs, the new ones you sent, the new mezuzahs, kosher mezuzahs, my wife started feeling better. The pain just literally evaporated. Now I have one of his mezuzahs right here in my pocket. Maybe I shouldn't carry it on me because it's not a school for shmira, but this is this Ukrainian sofer's mezuzah. So he left it in my office. I have 5 of them. If anybody wants. Yeah, so I have these mezuzahs, and you can look. You can pass it around. It's a very nice mezuzah. I don't even know if the parchment is kosher. Maybe he did it on his own. I have no idea. The writing is beautiful, but the mezuzah is not kosher. What does it show? That when it comes to Yiddishkeit, when it comes to Torah mitzvahs, very often, especially when it comes to mezuzahs and tefillin, it's about what's behind. You don't always see. It's about the intention, the kavana. If he's a from a yid, if he's Yiras Shomayim, the Yiras Shomayim is very important. You can have a mezuzah which looks beautiful, but if the sofer didn't do one little thing correct, the entire thing is not kosher. For example, so over here the guy was just totally not reliable. He was.
What you could tell from the pattern?
It's a very specific kind of writing. It's just the style.
So it's not the kosher one?
Not kosher.
The way mezuzahs and stuff works is that it all goes by person. There is it's not.
Well, there's 2 parts. There's a lot of parts. The main thing is the sofer. The first thing is when somebody wants to sell me mezuzahs, right? I sell mezuzahs and tefillin and tears. So I have sofer call me up. Could you buy from me? So who are you? Right? This guy called me up also. I said, who are you? I don't just buy from anybody. I have to really reference and verify. Speak to his friends. Speak to the rabbi. Speak to people who know him to verify: is he a Yiras Shomayim? Does he go to the mikveh every day? Does he daven with a minyan every day? Does he have kriyas in b'Torah every day? Is he some that people know that he's a fine person? His personality is. You want to know about this guy, like a shidduch, right? You look into it, it's like a shidduch. Now, if someone says I have a good shidduch, okay, I'll date him. Okay, the picture looks good, so I'm going to get married to him because of the picture. You might get stuck with a rotten apple because it's not about the facade. That's just a facade. Obviously, there's details. The mezuzah, obviously, there's halacha. Chas v'shalom to say it's a facade because there's a lot of every single detail in the mezuzah has profound meaning. It says that Rabbi Kiva was derish tili halachas, and every single tag, every little crown. If you look at the mezuzah, there's many little crowns. You have shatnas get shin ayin tes nun zayin gimel tzadik. Those letters have 3 crowns. It says it's like swords to chop the bad spirits. And they have bedek chayo, beis dal kuf ches yud hey. It's an abbreviation. Bedek chayo, beis dal kuf ches yud hey. They have 1 crown. Now, if it's missing the bedek chayo tagim, it's kosher. But it's like when you go on you go out with someone and they're missing some stuff. Maybe they're missing some eyebrows, missing some fingernails, they're missing whatever. You want it to be intact. You want it to be everything, right? Now, let's say the shatnas gets crowns. Those, it's b'diavad if it misses them. There was an opinion that says it's not even kosher. But the shatnas gets, we have 3 crowns on those letters. According to halacha, if it doesn't have those crowns, there is an opinion in halacha that says it's not kosher. The Alter Rebbe says it's kosher, but it's not lechatchila kosher. So if you're missing crowns on certain letters, it compromises on the kashrus. It's kosher b'diavad. You want it to be corrected. If a mezuzah is missing a letter, the mezuzah has to be buried. It's not kosher. It cannot even be corrected because it has to be in order. It says v'hayu advar me'ila, and the chacham lo nod.
Like these letters from I don't know if it was recently I heard of it, but a few letters from Rabbi Yitzchok Raskin spoke to the sofer. The sofer like explains the process of how he does the writing. And he said they didn't have a mikveh in the city or something, so he would go to the mikveh.
He missed out on Hashem's names and he went to the mikveh down. Famous story, very famous story, yeah.
Wait,
It's actually, I
think
think,
it's
yeah. So the Torah written out of order. Mezuzah and tefillin has to be written in order. So the story here, the guy was trying to be reliable by going to the mikveh at the end, right? So he missed Hashem's names, and at the end, he went to the mikveh and he filled in all Hashem's name. Now we know that that's not considered, it's not in order. It says v'hayu advarim ha'ilu v'hayu kahaviyas and yiyu. Has to be in the way that the Torah prescribes. The Torah says it.
That's not something that you could know.
Not saying it's very hard to know. Yeah. So how do they know? I think the Rebbe said to check it. And they went to Rabbi Heller. And Rabbi Heller didn't said to find out who the sofer was or something. And I think if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mixing up stories, Rabbi Heller basically because the Rebbe said they should check the mezuzahs. Rabbi Heller said go to Rabbi Vosner. They asked Rabbi Vosner. Rabbi Vosner called the sofer over, and the sofer said that he goes to the mikveh at the end, and they verified the things. You have to recall all his mezuzahs. Can you imagine? Now over here, that was every sofer is different, right? Some sofer know who they sold to, not everybody. So this sofer doesn't care who he's selling to. He's still trying to sell more. He's a big crook. He's a big crook. This guy. There's videos of him saying, "Oh, I'm in some other country and I'm selling over here. No one knows about me."
Sellers and comments, let's say,
Usually they know, but it's not always 100%. You know, not always. Anyway, okay. So what are we saying? So the first thing is a mezuzah and tefillin and a secretary. What's the most important part? The sofer. Who's the sofer? Right? Like you see over here, you have a very beautiful mezuzah, but is it beautiful? It might look beautiful, but it's really not very beautiful because it's not protecting the person. It's not bringing him the brachas, and he's not yotze the mitzvah mezuzah, and therefore you saw over here what happened that the guys had tzaros. Now let me ask you a question: a bad mezuzah like this, right? The problematic and non-kosher, is that causing the problem to happen?
No, it's a helmet there.
Oh, very good. Yeah, you see, you guys came prepared already. So she's answered the question. That's what I was looking for. A problematic mezuzah is not causing the bad thing to happen. Rather, it's like a helmet of a soldier in battle. Now, when did the Rebbe say this? Let me ask you if you know this part. When did the Rebbe explain this? No. It was in the school. Where? Malot. Very good. There was a terrorist attack in Israel, going back, I don't know how many, 45 years ago, maybe many years ago, in the north somewhere in Malot. And there was a lot of kids. There was a bunch of kids. I don't know how many. So there was 12 kids that got killed. You made it up. Okay, there was unfortunately kids that got killed, and the Rebbe came out. The Rebbe spoke by Fabregan and said that they should check the mezuzahs of the school. In the place where it happened, they should check the mezuzahs. The Rebbe said there's a problem with the mezuzahs, and they lo and behold, they checked. And what happened was there was the same exact amount of mezuzahs that were non-kosher matched up to the amount of kids that got killed. Now, some people were very amazed, but some people were very angry. So they were amazed because, wow, the Rebbe has Ruach HaKodesh and it made sense, and he fixed the problem, and now things are going to work out. But the people were very upset. Why? How could the Rebbe say that the bad mezuzah caused the problem? Sounds crazy. The pasuk mezuzah, so now we're saying that caused the problem to happen. How could that be? So the Rebbe by the Fabrengen the next week, I believe, came out and clarified. And the Rebbe said like this: the Rebbe said that a problematic mezuzah does not cause a problem. He says like a helmet. A kosher mezuzah is like wearing a helmet, right? We see today, unfortunately, too much of what's going on in Israel. Hashem should help that the soldiers should be safe and protected, and Yidden should be safe. They're going in the front lines, soldiers, right? And they're putting their lives in risk. They wear protective gear. They wear all kinds of uniform things and a helmet mainly to protect the head. Now, if a soldier is wearing a faulty helmet, does that mean that he's going to get killed? No. What does it mean? It means that the risk is greater. There's a bigger risk of something happening, but it doesn't mean that he's going to get killed. The Rebbe says that this is just an example. The Rebbe says that in Yiddishkeit, right, when Hashem says to do a mitzvah, it's going to protect. Mezuzah and tefillah is going to protect you. The Rebbe says that this protection, is the greatest protection that a Yid could ever ask and ever want in his life. And therefore, the Rebbe says that we need it and we must make sure to have this shield. And the Rebbe says that a mezuzah does not just protect physical things like bullets. The Rebbe says a mezuzah protects all the winds that are going around the world. The Rebbe says there's a lot of winds outside. And the Rebbe says that we have winds in our hearts as well, right? We have negative emotions. And we have all kinds of taivas of whims and desires that's not always 100% holy. And the Rebbe says that when we have a kosher mezuzah on our door, on all our doors, which require a mezuzah, so what does it do? It brings the Eibush into a house, and it connects us to the Eibush there, and it elevates us, that we should be able to have a chance to be able to feel correct and feel holy and feel straight, feel in a healthy way, right? The tefillin we put on our head and on our heart. We want that our feelings should be godly, and our feelings should be healthy and balanced and normal, and that our mind should be in sync with the Eibush, what the Eibush wants. Does it mean that if someone puts on film that he's going to be 100% a holy Jew? Not necessarily. But now he has a chance of getting it right. Like the Maisa with just B'derech Agav, there was a story going back. I remember hearing the Fabregan where the Rebbe was screaming. There was a Yid by the name of Shach living in Eretz Yisrael. He was a big respected rabbi, and he was speaking against the Rebbe, against every time the Rebbe came out with a mitzvah, he was fighting and going against it. And the Rebbe spoke, and the Rebbe had a lot of pain. Like what does he have against what I'm doing? Why is he so antagonistic? And the Rebbe said it must be that it's tefillin not kosher. And the Rebbe said it's not possible. The Rebbe it's not possible it's tefillin not kosher. Again, the Rebbe wasn't coming just to scream against him. The Rebbe was saying it just The Rebbe saw there was something ruchnistic wrong over here, that is, there was missing in his connection to the Eibishter. The Rebbe said that he has a problem with that tefillin. And they checked the tefillin and they found there was a psul there. And they fixed it, obviously.
I heard that he didn't want.
I'm not sure all the timeline and exactly when and what, but I heard that they checked it and they found the psul. And then afterwards they asked the Rebbe, and also, look, he's still doing all this stuff. The Rebbe said, and now that he has kasher tefillin, it's possible for him to have shivat alev hamayach. It's possible for him that his mind and heart should be, like we said before, should be able to be elevated and in sync with what the Eibishter wants, right? Right now there's a vessel, there's a fitting vessel to be able to be to have shivat alev hamayach. Shivat alev hamayach means your heart and mind should be subservient to the Eibishter. But before it wasn't even possible. The Rebbe says now he has bechira, right? We have bechira, we have free choice. You can have the best mezuzah in the world, and we're going to discuss a little bit about placement. I don't know how much time we have, but it's also very important to know where to put a mezuzah up, and that's something which they asked that we should go through. So we prepared over here what is it called, a slideshow. You can have the best mezuzah in the world, the most beautiful ksav, the biggest Yiras Shomayim, check, perfect, beautiful, everything good, in the right side of the door, and you have the best tefillin. Your husband got the best tefillin in mezuzah. However, we have free choice, right? It protects and it brings brachas. But if a person decides that he's going to go and do an avera, so then the Eibush has to help that he has to help himself sometimes. Not everything is the Eibush's fault. Not everything is the Eibush's fault. It's like the Rabbi would say, we have to say to him that the people in Eretz Yisrael should make the right decisions, because what should we do? Because have the Eibush do a mitzvah and have in mind that they should make the Rebbe say to him that Bibi and this one and that one should make the right choice, right? Because of bechira. Okay. Any questions? Yeah.
Are you talking to the law, like a must or?
That's a good question. So what she's asking is, okay, so we discussed before about the Shatnas Getz crowns, that every letter Shin, Ayin, Tes, Nun, Zayin, Gimel, Tzadik has 3 crowns, Bedachai has 1. There's a certain letter in the Aleph base, which is the letter Lamed, which doesn't have not any of those crowns, but has something else called the Tagi Lamed, which is like there's 2 thorns, so to say, like 2 lines on top of the Lamed. One on the right side and one on the left side. Who knows in Yiddishkeit what does the left represent? The left represents Gvura, and the right side represents Chsadim. Okay? The one time in the Tefillah Mezuzahs, it actually brings in Halach also about the Ches. But the one time that it brings all the way back, the Levush, one of the Rishonim, he writes, based on Kabbalah, that the letter Lamed, when the right side has the crown or the line, which is taller than the left one, if you want to pass it around, you'll see that he actually was pretty good about it, I think. Again, in the practical stuff, the guy was great. Just he wasn't kosher. So, Simon?
Yeah.
This I have in we put it in a special. This is the Ukrainian sofer. I said a whole story. Oh, you heard this, sir? We're very careful to make sure it doesn't get mixed in. And unfortunately, we've seen this too many by people's houses. You want to hear another story, by the way? You like stories? So a relative of this person actually came to me right before Pesach. No one heard the story really yet. And the story didn't finish. We're in the middle of the story. The relative of this person called me up. He said, I'm flying of the person who owned the mezuzahs. He calls me up. He's like, by the way, I would like to know if I could send you a WhatsApp of a few of my mezuzahs, because I have a chash that maybe some of my mezuzahs are from the Ukrainian sofer. And I was like, interesting that you're saying that. Like, why would you think? He says, because I happen to be a cousin of this guy, of this, not the sofer, the person. And I got them from the same place. I'm not going to say where. And I'd like to know, maybe I might, because I'm dealing with something very serious now. I'd like to know if it's from him. I said, sure. So he sent me a WhatsApp of 5 mezuzahs, and lo and behold, they were from the same sofer. He comes to my office, and he's like, I'm on the way flying now back. He's a shliach, a young married shliach. He's like, he got married 2 years ago. He's like, I'm flying home for Pesach. This is literally like 3-4 days over Pesach. He comes to my office at 7 o'clock. He's like, I have a flight in another 2-3 hours. I need some new mezuzahs. So I said, sure. There was a shliach standing in my office. Neach Kasovsky was standing right there. He heard the story. So he's an aid to the story. And this guy tells me, the shliach, he says, I'm going to share with you what's going on. I got married 2 years ago, and I had 4 miscarriages since I got married. I did not have a child yet. I have 4 miscarriages since I got married. And he says, now it explains what's going on. He has these mezuzahs. The story happened, a month and a half? We're holding up end of Sivan, and end of year, right? So this happened right before Pesach. So, yeah, like a month and a half ago. 6 weeks ago.
What led this to become?
7 weeks ago. Lamed. So the Lamed, the right side is Ches, the left is Gvura. In the Mezuzah, when the Lamed, the right side is taller than the left side, it brings down in the person's life Chsadim. So it's something which is very important, that you want to make sure that your Mezuzahs besides for being from Yiras Shomayim, which is the main thing, that the ksaf should be halachadik, right, and it should be checked for well. Something which is very often overlooked, which obviously she seems to show that. What's your name? I forgot. Chaya Mezuzah, right? So Chaya is mentioning that the Tagilaman is very important, and I can tell you stories that I know happened. There's a guy that actually I videoed him say a story. I could say his name, Zusha Khan. He lives in Five Towns, I think, or in Queens. Zusha Khan. He comes here every day. You know what it is? Zusha. He wrote the basic Mikdash of Babel in English. He's a writer, a very talented writer. So it happened a bunch of years ago. He came to check his mezuzahs and he asked me, "Is everything okay with my mezuzahs?" I said, "I think everything was fine." My Magia told me that they're all muhudar. He said, "Could I ask the Magia again just to find out?" He went into my Magia's room. My Magia said everything was fine, but there was some tagilaments which we had to correct. He said, "I don't believe it." He said, "That's what caused." He's like, "I had a deal. I was ready to come through. Something in his parnasa," and he said, "Today it came through." So I knew there's something that you fixed in my mezuzah. So the lamed must have been. He said, "It must have been the lamed that you fixed." Now this is a story about parnasa. There's also a very famous story which was put, I think, Gem video. The guy, his name is Feldman, from Flatbush. Also, he was very sick, and he had blood transfusion. This happened before Gimel Tammuz. And there's a video. You see how his wife goes by the Rebbe and asks the Rebbe for bracha. And the Rebbe says, "Make sure to check your husband's tefillin." And I believe that he wasn't Chabad then. He became Chabad later. And his children live in Karnai. Duvi Feldman. He works in the Merkez Suite 302. He actually bought a sefer Torah for me for his father when his father passed away a few years ago. And he has another fascinating story with Sudak with another whole Igor story, but something here. If you want to see just a little side note, a little advertisement to one of my meisters, I have a website. It's called rebbestory.org. Please go and check out the stories there. There's a very amazing stories, fascinating Rebbe stories. No, not about Mezuzahs. I really should do that as well, but it's not about. It's about Rebbe stories after Gimel Tammuz, mainly non-Chabad people sharing amazing stories of the oil of writing the Rebbe, Igros Kodesh, whatever it is, stories that Rebbe. And there's a story with someone when they get to this Feldman as well, to his Tehran, but separate thing. Okay, so back to this guy. So he was very sick. He was in hospital, blood transfusions, and his wife goes by the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says, "Your husband should check his film." Fine. So she told the husband, like the Rebbe said, check his film. He was in hospital. She calls him up and he says, "I'm asking him, but don't tell the sofer why you're checking the film." Fine. That night, the Rebbe told Leibel Grona to find out what was wrong with the film. Not if it was checked, what was wrong. So she calls her husband, or she called the sofer and said, what's with the film? He said, "I didn't check it yet." So he said, "Could you please, let me know when can I pick up the film? Come to me tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I'll be running." Fine. The next day she calls the sofer, what's with the film? He said, "Everything was 100% fine. Besides, for the word levavchem, the tagi laman on the word levavchem, which means your heart, the right side was shorter than the left side, which means that the balance of chesed and gvura wasn't good. You wanted the chesed to override the kindness, the brightness of the Eber says kindness should be shining, not the gvura. That was it. What was the question? Look in the lamed. Every lamed in the mezuzah or in tefillin or sefer Torah, the right side, the crown, there's two little lines. The left one is it's like very subtle, like a thorn, like a little like part of the goof of the vav of the lamed. The right side is like a taller line. And if sometimes the right side is missing, sometimes the right side is shorter than the left side, and that's not good. All across the board, besides for Ksav Sfardi. In Ksav Sfardi, Merkzia, according to the Sfardish Makaris, they don't have the Tagilamed. It's a Pikabala, but they don't have a Tagilamed. No, only in Arizal and Beis Yosef and in Alter Rebbe. What?
The short one.
The right side, no, the right is Chesed. Therefore, we want the right to be taller than the left.
So issue?
He had a health problem. It could affect anything. It could affect Sean. And mezuzah brings spiritual and physical and psychological and any kind of blessings that a person needs in his life. If you have a kosher muhudah mezuzah, it brings brachas and shmirah to the person in his house, away from his house. Very important that your mezuzahs are correct and written by Yiras Shomayim and done and correct, and on the right side of the door. Okay, which we're going to discuss a little soon. Sorry. That's a few extra crowns. It's Alpi Kabbalah. There's a lot of Oshis. Oh, why is it taller? Why is the dal taller and bigger in Echad? It's a Kabbalistic thing. The ayin of Shema. Very good. Ayin of Shema is bigger as well. Ayin and dal make up the word aid. There's different reasons about it, but yeah, it's on purpose. Over here as well. You see, this was also.
How does somebody Let's say somebody starts to write, they want to learn.
Yeah,
How does someone decide, oh, I'm gonna be more like this, or I'm gonna write more like that, or
you saying the quality of his writing?
either, the quality, I'm guessing it,
Everybody has that skill. Some people are more talented, some people are not as talented, so it
Right.
depends on the skill.
but some of these things, it seems like it's a choice. Are you?
For example, what? For example,
With different styles, like some.
which kind of ksav? It's usually your custom, or that's usually your custom. Chabad Sefer could decide if he wants to Arizal Alter Rebbe, but I'm saying a Sefer that's out there, if he's a Sephardi background, he's going to probably write Sephardi, but it's not. You could have one Sefer who knows how to write them all. I could write Arizal, I could write Alter Rebbe, I could write Beis Yosef, and probably could do Sephardi if it's not that hard. But it's not Sephardi ksav though. It's different. Beis Yosef is not Sephardi ksav. It's different. Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so she's asking, what does it have on the back of the mezuzah? Kuzu b'muchsas kuzu. So now, if you look at the front of the mezuzah, what is those letters corresponding to? What is it corresponding to? What are these words over here? Yud Kei Vav Kei, Elokeinu, and then Hashem again, right? So if you look, the Chaf, we basically want that the letters should correspond. So this is based on Kabbalistic also. There's it brings in the Ramah in Hilchas Mezuzah that you put the kuzu b'muchsas kuzu. The Chaf,
What does that mean?
so I'm explaining. The Yud, what's the next letter after Yud? Chaf. What's the next letter after Hey? Vav. What's the next letter after the Vav? Zayin. See that? Elokeinu, B, Aleph is Beis. You didn't. Yud Kei Vav Kei, Chav Vav Zayin Vav. And then Elokeinu, b'muchsas. It's the same thing. Kuzu is again Yud Kei Vav Kei. So basically, Kabbalistically, why exactly one letter off? I don't know what the Kabbalistic thing is. It brings down that it's for pregnancy, different malachim, for different things. It's in different malachim, different hamshachas. This, which it's like a school for more for shmira for different things. So that's why we do it upside down. If you see the mezuzah is written this way, and the kuzu is upside down because you want it to be corresponding exactly on those letters. It should be the chaf of the should be against the yud if it's upside down. Sfaradim do not do this. At least used to be a lot of Sfaradim didn't. Today already someone doing it, and the reason is because according to the Rambam, who knows who the Rambam is? You guys, Ram Sfaradi, right? The Rebbe would always say the Rambam, or Moshe ben Maimon HaSfaradi. The Rebbe was very, we do Rambam every day, right? Rambam, Sefer Mitzvahs. The Rebbe wanted us to kach and illuminate Rambam. The Rambam was a Sfaradi, Pesach, right? Halacha goes according to a few Rishonim. You have the Rambam, you have the Rif, the Rosh. So the Rambam the holds that the mezuzah is not for school of. We don't do it for the mitzvah, for the shmira. The mezuzah is for the mitzvah. Hashem give us a mitzvah mezuzah. You do it for that. Don't put on any other kabbalistic things. Don't do any shmira, any kasgulas. None of that. So this is more of a skulas. But you're doing it for the shmira, like the malachim of pregnancy, like we said before. The Ramah, but the Rambam but the Sfaradim go according to the Rambam mainly, and therefore they don't do the kuzu Moses kuzu, which is interesting. Today a lot of them do it, but there's like a little bit more intermingling with the different minhagim and different things. Not a problem. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, not a problem. I wouldn't say Alter Rebbe is higher quality than Arizal. You can have a beautiful Arizal, you can have a beautiful Alter Rebbe. You can also have a sefer who doesn't know how to write Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe Ksav is a little bit, it's more expensive. Again, not necessarily. You can have you can have a very expensive Arizal. It depends on the quality. It's so you're asking me what's the Alter Rebbe Ksav? What's it all about? Alter Rebbe Ksav is a combination because the Rabbeim encouraged it, and the Alter Rebbe introduced it, and the Alter Rebbe wrote it. And the Alter Rebbe was writing a ksav, which is before Mashiach comes, a ksav which unites several opinions in halacha. It's a combination of the Beis Yosef and the Arizal and other different things in there. Has a lot of kavanah, but it's also in the practical seer of the ice, the form of the way the ice is. There's a lot of kabbalistic and nigla combinations with the Alter Rebbe. It's an Arizal based ksav, but it has also the Beis Yosef included inside. I could show you, but we're getting a little sidetracked because I think that we want to discuss Kriyas Mezuzah also. But basically, it's a ksav which the Alter Rebbe introduced at a very specific time. Of history, like before Mashiach comes, and he said that now is the time with Hamshacha of this ksav comes into the world, and now is the time because before Mashiach comes, where we need to have this ksav to be able to usher in Mashiach, and therefore now is the time to have this unity amongst the different opinions in halacha that we have this kind of ksav. Yeah, correct. Most of the time, some not always, but it's much more difficult to write. There's much less sofer that know how to do it. It's more difficult to write, and therefore, because there's less sofer that know how to do it nicely, so they charge more for it. But the truth is, in Arizal, the very high quality Arizal, if you go to Bar Park or Williamsburg, They know how to charge for mitzvahs more than we do. They could charge you $500, $600 for mezuzah. I'll tell mezuzah in Kranitz. I mean, I sell mezuzahs, $200, $300, $400 for a Rolls Royce mezuzah in Williamsburg in Borough Park. $300-$400. The regular sofer from Borough Park in Williamsburg that writes mezuzahs will be charging those prices. $75. Today, how many years ago was that? So today the pricing went up. Today the mezuzah, Mahut mezuzah is not going to be $70. It's going to probably cost you $150, $180, $200. But it all depends. Pricing went up a lot in the past 2-3 years, but it depends on. It's all not about the numbers of dollars and cents. It's about the sofer, the quality of the writing, the quality of the agah, hagalamitz, all the different details. Sometimes we walk into a store. Okay, what's the mezuzah? How much? Okay, 100, 200. Give me the one for 100. It could be one place $100 mezuzah is going to be one thing. Another place, it doesn't have a SKU number. When you go to Target and you say, I want to have that vacuum cleaner for it's going to cost $155.73.2, and you're going to take the same SKU number and you're going to check in Best Buy and you're going to check in. You have the same exact item. Over here it costs this amount. Over here is $3 more. Over here is $10 less. So you can get a discount because you know that you're getting this item for a cheaper price. Mezuzah and tefillin, it doesn't work like that. You're relying on the guy giving it to you. You're either the sofer or on the vendor, whoever's selling it. You're relying on his standards. Now, what is his standards? How do you know what does he be careful about? There are so many intricate details. You're literally relying on him. They say an interesting point. They say, why when you go onto an airplane, you never find out the credentials of the pilot?
What?
When you fly on a plane, when you go with Elal, you go with American Airlines flying to Florida to Israel. You don't go and say, could I please see? When you go to a doctor, you make sure the doctor is certified, right? Or you get your friends to tell you that they use him and he was good. But you always want to see the doctor, like, where did he train? If someone's going, God forbid, for brain surgery, they're not going to just go to the guy who's the cheapest, right? They're going to go and see, is this guy good? Does he have a good track record? Where did he train? Did he go to the best study at the best university? Does he really know what he's doing? Did he get trained from the best doctors? When you go into a flight, you don't even bother checking who the pilot is. Who knows the reason? It's a very simple answer. Exactly. Because you know that the pilot is going to make sure that he knows what he's doing because he's flying with you. So you don't bother asking, because if the pilot's going, he probably knows what he's doing, right? But when you get a mezuzah, that guy selling the mezuzah, he's not going with you. Unfortunately, if you be a Yiras Shomayim, if the vendor will be a Yiras Shomayim, he would make sure that mezuzah was checked and double checked and really kosher. Again, mistakes could happen to anybody. But the vendor, if he really believes in the Eibishter, right? It's like, hey, I don't care. It's not me. I'm giving the mezuzah to some fry guy. I don't care. There was a guy in Borough Park he sells mezuzahs, which are totally not kosher, like these little printed things like mashuach, not kosher mezuzahs. Why? Because he was selling to Reform or to somebody who's not from. And it makes no difference, right? To them, it's like, what's the difference? The guy's not from or whatever. Who cares? The point is that if you believe in the Eibishter, there's a website. Why are they writing on kosher mezuzahs? Because they can make money. What do you mean? Why? Because they can make money. There's something called Yetzirah. A Yetzirah, the guy doesn't believe in the Eibishter so much, and he writes a mezuzah. The Pri Megadim says that the Yiras Shomayim of a sofer has to be greater than that of the Yiras Shomayim of a shochet. You know why? So my father's a shochet and I'm a sofer. I don't know if I'm such a Yiras Shomayim like my father, but I'm trying. Why does a sofer have to be greater than a shochet? Who can tell me why? Anybody can tell me why? It's a logical calculation.
No,
Okay, but why does a sofer have to be more than a shochet?
you start to know who the shaykhah is.
No.
The details, no?
It is affecting the person, because it's less accountability, particularly.
It affects my more
Humans and animals.
No, not exactly. I'll tell you. It could be what you're saying is all true, but that's not what the people got. No, my father's not overseeing it. My father goes to Schritte and so on. He does what he wants. Say if he does. The answer is like this: a shochet that shechs a cow. Now we're talking about going back. I mean, today it's not really the sheikh himself that owns the animal. He's working for a company. But let's say 100 years ago, 20 years ago in the shtetl, he had a cow. Now that cow was worth 1,000 ruble. We're talking about this is a huge amount of money. If he shechs the cow and by mistake he made a mistake, and the cow now is not kosher, he's losing a lot of money. Okay, someone's going to go and eat that cow, right? Some nice family, a woman's going to come to the store, buy the steak for tonight's supper, eat the cow. Family's going to eat the cow. What's going to happen tomorrow? They're going to go back to the store to buy again meat for supper. So they're going to be nichshel once. They're going to eat the thing which is not kosher, chas v'shalom. But then tomorrow, or a week later, or a month later, let's say they bought a big amount of, and they froze it. I mean, they didn't have freezers those days. But let's say they're gonna have it for the next 2 or 3 days. After they finish with that stuff, they're gonna go and buy again kosher meat. And mezuzah and tefillin is different. Why? If that sofer didn't want to cover his tracks, right? He was covering his tracks. He didn't want to expose that he made a mistake and it's going to cost him. He spent now. I used to write today. I don't really have so much time to write. I wrote my son's tefillin a few years ago, but I'm very busy, Baruch Hashem, with a lot of things. I don't have time to write. But I know how difficult it is to write a pair of tefillin and a mezuzah. It takes many hours. Writing a mezuzah like this can take me 4-5 hours. A pair of tefillin we have over here it could take 15 hours to write this tefillin. It's like 5 mezuzahs. Okay. This is the shayad.
Oh.
We have this is the shayad. There's 4 parashas on one.
This way as well, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we have 4 parashas over here. You see,
This one kosher?
the third one. This is kosher. This is a brown. I just took it out of my office. It's a brown and beautiful pair of parashas. Shema. You see the Shema, the little one. The third parasha is Shema.
Yes, sir.
You see that? So now this takes a long time to write. Now, if I make a mistake over here, it happened many times, and it's very, very aggravating. If I make a mistake over here, that's a lot. Well, half the film. This is only like the shayat. Now the shirot. This is you have 4 parashas on one piece of cloth.
You have to start.
Start again. Sometimes if you didn't write Hashem's name yet, and you made a mistake, and you didn't write Hashem's name, you could scrape it out till Hashem's name, till wherever you made a mistake, as long as there's no Hashem's name anywhere in between. Because if once you have Hashem's name, you cannot scrape out Hashem's name. Now, Shel Rosh has 4 lines and it has 4 separate pieces of cloth. You see that? And it has to be in order. So if you wrote Kaddish, you wrote Shema, and then you made a mistake. Whoops, I made a mistake. The whole thing is Gnizah.
Wait, including the.
Not the no. This is separate. This is separate.
Uh,
So let's say you made a mistake in Vayim Shemaya. So the Kaddish, Vayim and Shema is Gnizah. And it's a lot of work. It's very, very painful. Now, if the guy's not a Yiras Shomayim, what's he going to do? Fix it up. Go weiter. So you understand what we're talking about over there? And it's a very serious thing. So you're relying that the sofer is Yiras Shomayim. When you say sofer, why is it Yiras Shomayim? Because hey, you're talking about this guy's putting hours and hours. He's sweating away writing for 2-3 days. He's writing, right? He spent hours and hours and hours, and he made a little mistake, and he missed a letter, or he made a psul which is not fixable, and he wasn't God fearing. He was like, yeah, so it wasn't kosher. Big deal. So it's not real. The whole thing anyway. Whatever, right? So now what he's going to do is people are going to be wearing for their whole life. You never know because it could look beautiful. Any sofer I'm going to check it, beautiful like this. This is the mezuzah, the Ukrainian sofer. I would never know if not for recognizing. Now the story that I said before, I forgot to say one detail of the story. This is the yeah, this is written about the Ukrainian sofer. He left in my office because he doesn't need them. This mezuzah, the sofer that wrote this mezuzah, the guy that had these mezuzahs, he told me that he was going to give it to the sofer Detroit. As a friend of mine, his name is Levi Kagan. He's a sofer, and Levi told me, he's like, it's a mazal that I wasn't available. He was going to give it to the guy in Detroit to check the mezuzahs, and Levi told him, I'm not available, send it to Kvanitz. That's why I sent it to me. Levi Kagan told me he doesn't know this guy's ksav. And if he would have sent it to Levi Kagan, he would have never known to detect. Now he knows. I say, he's like, Levi's like, could you please send me that stuff straight away so I should know what it is. He had no idea. We could get, yeah. So I said another story. It looks like you missed it, but right before Pesach, a cousin of this customer, I told you didn't hear the story. The guy, his wife was struggling, was having a lot of pain after having a baby for months and months. Got new mezuzahs, the pain disappeared. She had a surgery, she had painkillers, nothing else. So a cousin of this guy, he had these mezuzahs in his house, and his wife had 4 miscarriages since getting married. Now let me just tell you, unfortunately, there are a lot of people have these mezuzahs up.
Is he green guy?
So Rabbi Broin's putting out a new letter, Mr. Shem, in another few days to arouse the entire. You'll see a letter coming out in the next few days. I've been pushing him to do it again. So it has to be in people's faces, it has to be all over. This ksav is not kosher.
Is this not being circulated mostly in Chabad or?
I don't know. He wrote ksav. It's a big problem. Yeah. Okay, let's speak about something positive. Positive is that when your mezuzahs are in the right place, it brings brachas. How do you know? There's a line that goes the right side is not always the right side. Okay, the right side is not always the right side. No, it's not always the way the door opens. Very commonly it is. Very often it's the right. Is that the way you push the door? Something called hekatzir. You push, it goes on the right, but not always like that. So let's go through. Anybody have any questions about what we spoke about until now? Everything's okay. Yeah. Recommend a sofer? I'm biased. What's your name? What's your name? Who? So you married? You have. Go, mazel tov. You have mezuzahs already? Okay, good. So you don't need mezuzahs. About checking mezuzahs. If you want to check your mezuzahs, my sofer, I'm very careful about tagalamas and about other things which are very important. We know that we're very careful about halacha. We try. I can tell you, my guy, and I can tell you that my guys, I try to make sure they're very thorough. Machasam. Yeah. We're on top of Lynn's jewelry in Montgomery. So I can tell you about myself, my guys, we try to be thorough. I'm sure the other guys were very good also. I'm sure. We test them. We do not rely on them until we, for a couple of years, go through and make sure that we spot check them and check over them for years. I have guys who for years, I still don't trust them. And I just send them off because they're not good. Oh, that's right. Your husband is getting it. He didn't get it yet, but you bought it. Sorry?
But they're from, but I think that their Yiras Shomayim has like holes in it, they're not like.
So you want to go to someone who you trust as Yiras Shomayim? It's not so simple, right?
Where do you draw the line in Yiras Shomayim? It's like.
So I said before, you can't measure someone's heart. You don't know what's going on, but you could see things. There are certain flags to see, okay, this guy I don't want to use. Yeah, and then how do you know if you want to rely on someone?
He's not your
Right.
time in public, then he's definitely not in private.
Correct. If you see someone who, besides for just doing the right things that Shulchan Aruch says, right, that he davens with, you go see he davens in a minyan every day, 3 times a day. Does he daven in a minyan? He goes to the mikveh in the morning. Does he lach siddur? All my Alter Rebbe Sefer, I check to see do the lach siddur in the mornings. Every single one of them. I always ask them. I ask them, what are you learning? I'll call them. What do you learn this morning for siddur? Alter Rebbe Sefer, all of them. I'm careful because Alter Rebbe Sefer, I'm writing for Anash, for us. So I make sure do you lach siddur in the morning. And who knows them? Like people know them. Is he an erlich? Is he an edel person, or is he like a screaming, loud, bad guy? If he's not a pleasant, good person, then it makes a difference how holy he is. That he's run, right? Is he working on himself? Biddas tevus. So when you see that there's a person who is upright, he's honest, he has good midas, he has a wife, and he has children, and he goes to mikveh, and he davens in the minyan, and he has shiurim every day, and he learns siddur in the morning. So then again, more than that, how the Eibush has to help. You know what I'm saying? So you see, you can see. No. They don't have to be married, but I think all my tefillin say from our married happens to be, but they don't have to be married. Not according to halacha. There is a certain thing that says that tefillin there's an inyan for them to be married, but it's not a chiyuv. Okay, we should do any more questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. What time is it?
Last year, the check on the actually was here. And someone, or literally, they checked it, they came back and they said that for all of them, just one of them had cracks in the person, but it's mother. And I don't.
You don't understand what that means? So there's two things. There's the standard of the writing, which means that when they say mohoder with these cracks, it means that the writing style is written in a mohodedic way. However, from age, there was a little deterioration. So if they could fix the deterioration, so we're putting it back to the way it was, and now it's mohoder the way it's intended to be, and it's good. So this, it depends how big. I mean, relying on that sofer that the crack wasn't such a severe crack that some post can pass it and it's only been the other kosher. If it's a minor cracks, it could be 100% fine if it's corrected.
You suggested.
I don't know what was there. It depends how serious. If the sofer said that there was a little tiny cracks and he fixed it, now it's fine. You can assume it's mohoder now. The only thing is, it sounds like maybe the ink is getting a little bit deteriorated from age, and you might want to check it again after 6 months just to make sure. If the mezuzah is weak, begashmius, sometimes it might be kedai to upgrade, because you don't want to get stuck that all of a sudden you didn't realize that the mezuzah was a problem, that things fell off, and you were missing the shmirah, you didn't have the mitzvah. You want it to be strong, not because, yeah.
It's also a problem if you want to stop and see the post. I don't know.
The Chatzchila we tried, it says you don't want to be, it says Ma'ile B'Kodesh Ve'Meridin. So mezuzah, which was on the door, which is Mechuyev in deraisa, you don't want to put that front door, usually, not always. Front door, if it's going into a small little area, so then it's not a deraisa. It has to be going into a room which is 6 by 6 feet. So that's an interesting point to what you're saying. The front door is not always a deraisa, but usually it is if you're going into the big space. You don't want to take that mezuzah and put it onto a closet. That's the point. So the Chatzchila, we try to keep a track of where it came from, but it's not ma'akiv. If you didn't and you forgot, you can put mezuzahs anywhere. It's not a problem. Yeah.
Question, you say cracks,
The
how about cracks?
letter in the
So not a letter, not the parchment.
Oh, she said her.
The ink in the parchment, so that's a problem.
She said.
She probably means that there's no cracks in the parchment.
I think the question I didn't.
In the parchment, so if it's on the letters, then that has to be changed. If the parchment on the side is a little brittle, so you could just. It's different.
It's still a part of the concept, and still on my side.
So then she might want to consider getting a better mezuzah. Very often, things which are not explainable in medical, I've seen myself very often. when you fix the mezuzah or you change the mezuzah, things just magically happen. I know a story I can tell you from today to tomorrow stories. People had all kinds of issues, whether it was getting a shidduch, whether it was health, whether it was whatever it was. They did something in the direction of mezuzahs and tefillin, or in your case, it would be mezuzahs, and they saw things happen good in their life. The Rebbe spoke about this all the time. It's not me. This is the Torah, and the Rebbe was the one who kind of zoomed up this thing. You see literally the result of the mezuzah straight away. It says Mashiach's going to come. You're going to see the result of a mitzvah straight away. The Rebbe, to me, it looks like the Rebbe took this idea of Mashiach in the area of mezuzah and kind of amplified it, that we see the result today. So amazing, so many stories of the guy had a problem, and the Rebbe says that it must be mezuzah has a problem, or it must be that the placement was not correct. They fixed it. I understand, but you see the result straight away. If I tell you, okay, you have a headache, okay, so you have a headache, okay, so Mastama, you didn't keep Shabbos. You don't see that. The Rebbe was able to do that. The Rebbe did that. Tell people, okay, you have a problem with this, keep kashrus. You don't see well, have dollar candles. So there's different Rebbe. But so many times when the Rebbe told people you have a problem with whatever, mezuzah is a problem. And it must be that there's a problem still. I heard this from, there's a lot of stories. One thing I want to say, just an interesting thing before you say, I don't forget. Somebody told me that he was having migraine headaches. Now, it's not the first story. I had this recently, but I heard this years ago from Mrs. Nemni. You know Mrs. Nemni? Yeah. So she told me this. I was sitting at a table. We could ask her if it's true, unless I'm going over bottle. She told me this 18 years ago. I got married around 18 years ago. And when I was engaged, sitting by the table with my Lei Garari, Tanya, you know Lei Garari? So she's my aunt. And I was sitting by the meal, and Nemni's with their Mordechai and his wife. And I remember her telling me, it stuck in my head. This is before I was a sofer, I think. Yeah. Before I actually got trained, tested. I wrote a Megillah when I was a bacher, but I got married. And she said that she had migraine headaches, and it was Kodesh that Rebbe said to carry a mezuzah with her, and she carries her mezuzah with her, and she stopped having migraine headaches. She stopped having migraine headaches. 2 months, yes, 2 months ago. It's something you see in the Kodesh. 2 months ago, somebody in 770 came over to me and told me that he has migraine headaches, and he got a letter in the Kodesh to carry a mezuzah. He's like, I don't know, but he said he got a letter. He's like, it's 30 days a month, and I didn't do it. He's like, I didn't. I said, why are you waiting? I said, I could tell you, I know stories that. He says, I don't know. I said, come to my office now and get a mezuzah. He did it. And I saw him a few days later. He said, well, I haven't had headaches since then. I saw him again recently. He said, I had a headaches one day. And I checked and I didn't have a mezuzah in my pocket. He took the mezuzah and the headaches went away. I'll tell you another story. I see crazy stuff. There was a guy came to me.
We just had a doula speak.
Yeah.
And she somebody showed her a letter from the Rebbe to bring a
mezuzah to the boiling room. Yeah. There was a guy that came to my office a few months ago, and he said that he's literally going crazy. He cannot sleep. No, you should never have this. But he was saying that it's terrible, terrible, terrible Yisurim, pain. It's called insomnia, I think, right? Where you cannot sleep. He said it's already like 3 or 4 days. He hasn't slept a minute. When you want to sleep, you just cannot fall asleep. Not explainable. He came to my office. I remember Rabbi Yitzchok was standing in my office. He was standing there. And we told him, get a mezuzah. I told him, get a mezuzah. Carry a mezuzah, put it under your pillow. I don't know. No. If it's double wrapped, you double wrap it, it's not a problem. I'm putting it into the bathroom. So listen to the story. I didn't see him for a month or two. I didn't see him for a month or two. You hear this? Guys, listen to this. I was in the store. I was buying a hat. I was standing in Borsalino a few weeks ago. And this guy, I don't want to say his name. He said, I just want to be fast. He was married for 2 years. He came over to me in the story. He's like, well, remember that story? Remember I came to you a month or two ago? He said, I had the mezuzah. He's like, that night I was able to sleep for 3 or 4 hours. The next night, 4 or 5 hours. Within 3 or 4 days, the whole thing went away. He's like, the mezuzah saved me. He's like, you have no idea. He's like, I was becoming suicidal. The pain of not sleeping for 3 or 4 nights, he said, is you literally feel like you're going to die. You can't survive. He said, it was suicide. He said, he had thoughts he's like, I can't do this anymore. And he said, the mezuzah saved his life. Crazy story. So I didn't do anything. I just suggested there's something which the Rebbe speaks about these things. Mezuzah protects. Not only when you have it at the place where the mitzvah is, nightmares also. The Rebbe speaks about mezuzahs for nightmares also. The Rebbe told him when he was there. You were in Yiras Shomayim or before Gimel? Before Gimel Tammuz.
It was before Gimel.
Before Gimel Tammuz. Wow.
Something were bummed.
Wow. So this is the first time.
All like it was just him. Ben does the bum thing. We all do that.
I had stories. People tell me that we checked the mezuzah and we just corrected the kid's bedroom. The kid was having nightmares and the mezuzah was fixed, and things figured itself out. Yeah, it's a very real thing. When it comes to this, it's not exactly the thing. It's about having a kosher mezuzah. Alter Rebbe Bas Arizal, it's already a hiddur, already, beautifying, going up in level. I can't tell someone that has to have Alter Rebbe over Arizal. The Rebbe did encourage it, but it's a little bit more expensive, so you can't tell someone you have to get Alter Rebbe. Plus, per mezuzah. Exactly, it's not shade.
How are we gonna be so rich?
Sorry for a lot of the word. Sorry for a lot of the word. You be pricing it based on whatever there's a certain market value.
But he can say, hey, I'm like.
The safer can charge whatever you want. You don't have to use them.
Also, Yiras Shomayim to overprice.
To overprice is not Yiras Shomayim, but I think that in the sofer world, I think in general people are underpricing, not overpricing. The amount of work that goes in, a guy's spending 4 or 5 hours on a mezuzah and he's charging $300, $400. You go to a lawyer, they charge you $600 for an hour. So why is it overpricing? There's no such thing as overpricing, in my opinion. Yeah, if someone who's writing and he has a push and he's spending time and he's concentrating and he writes a beautiful mezuzah, took him 3, 4, 5 hours, and he's charging $300-$400. You don't have to spend that kind of money if you don't want, but it's not overpricing.
How much does it cost to check mezuzahs?
Could be another sofer, spend 4 or 5, even 6 hours, mezuzah and price less.
Fine, so everybody's entitled to you charge what you need to live. If you need to live, you have a family of 10 kids and you need to be making $100 an hour. So you charge what you need to be making to live. Just because someone else charges $50 an hour, it's not, everybody has what they need. Everybody charges whatever they need. Okay. It depends where you go. We charge $12.
Oh, why
And
not?
we try to do a thorough job. If it went up, we're doing that. We can charge $12 for ready for a year or two already. My scribes, myself, my charging wants to wrap up. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go through some things of mezuzah placement. Okay, the mezuzah placement is very important because if you have the mezuzah on the wrong side of the door, or if you're missing a mezuzah, you don't have it. So there's right. So then you don't get the bracha because you don't have the mezuzah on the door, or you have it on the wrong side. So we have to first know which areas of space require a mezuzah. So the first section here is which place, which rooms need a mezuzah. Does this need a mezuzah? So this is obviously needs. It's going into a home. I should do this. How does this work?
Go to next, right?
How do I do? I just click the arrow, or no? Arrow's not working.
Click on there and then
Click on it.
click on the photo and then try the arrows.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, so here we have a garage. A garage is a room like any other room, and it needs a mezuzah. Okay.
Which one is considered the entrance, like the?
So we're gonna So the garage is the room that needs the mezuzah. So the mezuzah is going to be going for the garage. So you're going to be putting on the right side going into the garage, right? We're not going to be putting a mezuzah on the going outside because you're not going. In other words, the mezuzah is on the right side going into the space.
But I'm saying, let's say that someone has a garage that also has another door into the house.
Right. So then you need every single entrance, every doorpost going into a space. It needs to be that there's a surah Pesach with a halachic ramification of that. It has the surah, the shape of a doorpost, and it has to be going into a space where it's right now it clearly looks like it's defining a specific area. If it's just like a random doorpost in the middle of a field, that's not needing a mezuzah because it's not going anywhere. It has to be going into a room. We're going to discuss it. If it's just like supporting beams or just for beauty, then you don't need a mezuzah. But over here, you're clearly going into a defined space, and therefore you need a mezuzah on the right side going into the garage. Okay. Over here, going to some kind of like porch or whatever you want to call it. So this space needs a mezuzah. Okay. So you're gonna put it on the door going out. We're gonna see soon, but you're gonna put on the door that goes from the house to the porch. Now, really, the question is which way the door swings. If you push the door into the thing, you go on the right side going out. If the door swings the other way, then you're gonna put on the right side coming into the house. According to the Alter Rebbe, we go according to most of the time, not always. It's called Hekret Sir. Now, whichever way the door you push, it goes on the right side. This is like a rule of thumb. The Alter Rebbe, not everybody holds like this. The Alter Rebbe says no matter what, besides for when you go from the Rishus HaRabim into a house, there you don't go according to Hekret Sir. Because there it's very clear that what's the way you walk from outside, from the public domain into the private domain, right? So it makes no difference if you pull or push. But the general thing is, we try to understand what's the shaila here. The shaila is, what's the way you walk? What's the derech b'yoscha? Derech b'yasra, how do you walk, right? You put your foot in and you go inside, where are you going? You're going from here to here, or you're going from there to here. So the Alter Rebbe says that the defining factor is the way you push the door. If you push the door, that means that you're going from here into there. If you pull, it means you're going from the next space, coming back. That's the way the Alter Rebbe rules, and therefore we go according to that, because we're Chassidim Chabad. There are other opinions that say you go from the more chashuv to from the less chashuv into the more chashuv. There's different things, but we go according to whenever there's a regular door, right? Sometimes there's no door, there's just an opening. So then already you have to figure out based on other things. But if there's a door, we go according to Hakatzir. Like we said before, besides when it's going from a Rosh Hashanah into a Rosh Hashanah, when there you always go right to going in. For example, a main entrance of a house, for example, we said like the first picture, and then also let's say for example in Karnataka you have alleyways, and the alleyways open to the Rosh Hashanah, and there's a door on the side of the house going into the house. Now, if that door you would pull it, you do not do Hakatzir, which means you won't put it on the left side. In other words, the right side when you push from the house going to the alleyway. Rather, you'd go on the right side going into the house because we said that when you're going from a public domain to a house, it's always on the right side going in. You getting it?
What about
Correct.
sliding
Yes, always. Rosh Hashanah goes always inside, right to going in. But when there's inside from room to room, we always do Hakatzir.
Sliding door. Where sliding door.
I'm sorry? Yeah, same thing. In other words, when you're going from a shared space, which is a Rosh Hashanah, right? You only rent your apartment. So if you're usually apartments anyway, usually houses, the door goes pushed inwards. But even if the door would be pulling the other way, if that's the first space that you own now that you're renting, it's chayv sadar, which means it's the chayv of the one who lives there. It's a very common thing people want to know. Like if you're renting an apartment, I don't care about my mezuzahs. The guy put cheap mezuzahs. It's his problem. No, it's your problem. If you rent an apartment, right? You guys are living in an apartment. Very often, it's a very common thing people don't realize, and they have to be very careful about it. When you rent an apartment, you don't realize that maybe the landlord didn't really care too much to give you good quality mezuzahs because he was just getting away with putting the most cheap mezuzah that he could afford, that he could put just to get away with having a mezuzah there. You want to make sure the mezuzahs in your apartment are the level and the quality that you want because it's going to affect you, not the landlord. When you're renting from someone, the mezuzah is going to affect you because it's a chayv sadar, which means the obligation of the one who's renting, not the one who is renting to you. It's the renter or the rentee. I don't know how to say it in English. I'm sorry.
1 second, so if you're renting, then the door even to your apartment from the building, it's always on the right side? Is that what you just said?
In the building, is it apartment?
Let's say you're in an apartment building.
Right.
So then that front door to your apartment is. considered-
Right. Correct. Exactly. Because it's going from the shared space. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Somebody who's watching on Zoom has a question. Does a door that's not in use need a mezuzah? Like if it's covered or blocked by a door case, or if it's still.
It's a good question. You need a mezuzah unless you put a screw and it has to be physically not possible to open. If you want to be part of it, it has to be screw shut. Having something blocking doesn't help.
And what about the workspace that?
Workspace?
Yeah. like-
You should need a mezuzah. Yeah, you need a mezuzah.
But is it?
You're eating and drinking. Oh, the guy. What workspace is this? Are you saying you're working in a school?
What about the workspace?
Or you have an office space? It depends. I'm not sure what kind of workspace. You're working for someone else. You're working for a Yiddish company. So it's not you. It's the Yiddish company. I'm saying if
The
you
person who asked the question, let us know what you're talking
Okay,
about.
but let's say it's not a Yiddish company and you have your own office.
So then you need a mezuzah.
everything depends. You're working for a Goyish company.
Yeah, working for.
You're a Jewish worker, work for a guy. So that's not your. You didn't rent the space. You're working for a guy.
So you don't, even if you have your own.
It's nice to put a mezuzah there, but if you're working in a Goyish office, so why should it's not your problem to mezuzah there? It's nice to put a mezuzah on your room, but it's technically you don't own that space. You're not renting that space. Today you work here, maybe tomorrow I might put you in another room. You don't have any balanbatishkeit on that space.
Also nursing home.
Nursing home, yeah. If you're a nurse and working in a nursing home, so then
No, I'm saying like people.
Not
A
your.
resident in a nursing
Yeah,
home
but
would
they
need
are-
one on their door.
No, because they switch.
So that's already different. If you the halach is if you go to a hotel, you need a mezuzah. 30 days. If you're in a place for more than 30 days, you need a mezuzah. That's why camps need mezuzahs.
But the Rav said that they're always switching patients to different rooms.
So that's the difference. If you switch it, you don't need it.
But it's not within 30 days, like.
Right. So if it's less than 30 days, then it's not an issue. Okay.
They don't want to resist the responsibility.
You can the shared area. It should have a mezuzah because it's a Yiddish place, but it's not your chiyuv per se because it's not really. If there's someone who's in the building, you don't own that space. No. It's not your chiyuv.
How do you decide which way is right? Is it
He said the way you open the door.
There's a door or there's no door? So that's the flow of traffic, the flow of traffic, the way you walk from the main entrance. You have to see what's the most people, how they usually go. If you usually go this direction, so that it goes on the right side going in that direction. If you usually go the other way, so that's the right side.
From the public space, from the entrance to the.
From the entrance, yeah. So if you, for example, a house, and most people go from the garage, so then that's gonna be the main entrance, because that's where usually, for example, I park my car in my back of my house, and then I come from there. So if I have a door, where there's no door, so the question would be, what's the main flow of traffic? So I have to go from the back towards the front, not the other way around.
What if your wife comes in the front?
So it goes according to the roof.
Somebody
Goes according to the
over
roof.
you.
We're gonna get the elevator. Elevator goes the right side on the main floor, and then ground side, right side on the ground floor, and then the other floor on the right side going out.
Oh, I actually noticed that.
No, not a stick, it's a halacha.
That was,
It's a door.
that was the door.
I mean, it could be that it's only darabanan if it doesn't have a shear. But the pile we put them. So it's not a chiyuv, it's only a header. On darabanan. Has to be a full shear to have a chiyuv. It has to be dal dal, which means like around 6 feet by 6 feet. It comes out to around 5,400 square inches. Okay, let's go further. Okay, so this doorpost is a doorpost. It has something on top, has on the right side, on the left. The main thing is on the right top side, top on the right side. And there's a Tzursa Pesach, and therefore this is going into an area. You need a mezuzah. This is going into a tennis court or a basketball court. This is a regular Tzursa Pesach, and you would put a mezuzah here.
You own it.
Yeah, over here, it looks like coming from an alleyway going into someone's backyard. Okay, it's like there's some kind of like walkway going into his house. So this would need a mezuzah. Now, like we said before, because this is going from Rosh Hashanah into Rosh Hashanah, in other words, going from the outside space coming in here, even though you'd be pulling the door to come inside, where does the mezuzah go? On the right side coming in.
Should be on the left.
Which would be on the left side, the way we see here, correct. Over here, we have a doghouse or a storage, I would say more of a storage room. If it's a doghouse, you might not want to put a mezuzah because it's smelly or dirty, but let's say it's a storage room. Storage room needs a mezuzah. Question is how big it is. The question is, well, let's go further for now. Over here, you have coming into the house, and there's like a little secondary doorpost over here. So this doorpost needs a mezuzah because it's going into the main space. Correct. The shaila only is how high do you put the mezuzah? Which, in other words, no, not how high. What's the how do you measure the shalyan? So the halacha is that you measure from the straight area. There's an halacha if you go from the very top, but you start from the straight space. Right?
It would be on.
The maskana is that you go according to the straight space, but we try to include both opinions, and therefore you measure from the very top. And if you can go according to both opinions, how do you go according to both opinions? If the top third is not within a tefach from the straight space, when you measure a third from the very top, you're following? In other words, according to halacha, you're not allowed to put the mezuzah within the top tefach, which is around 3.3 inches. So we go according to the straight space, the straight thing. Let's go like this, right? So if you measure from here, and a third from here goes to around here, so you still have it. If the mezuzah can go here, and it's still more than 3.3 inches from the straight area, so then you go. But let's say the round part was very, 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 very round, like this, and a third from here is going to be bringing you down, like not into the straight area. It's going to go, let's say, into the rounded space. So then we just scrap the curve, and we just measure from the straight space, measure the shalyan, put it over here.
I went to someone's house and it was literally like fucking garden, right?
It was what?
The height was like.
Right, that's
for a
the thing,
child,
like, there.
because the curve was like a.
Oh, really? Okay, that could be it. Right. Make sure that's not too low. Okay. Over here we have like a Pesach kitchen or something. So over here there's no door pushing or pulling. It's literally like what's called accordion or something, right? So here you basically first you have to check to see if it's dal dal. If it's got the shear of dal dal, rights are going in. If it does not have the shear of dal dal, so then you put on the left side, which means on the right side going out, because it's as if the place does not exist. Does not have the shear. If the closet, it's like a closet, which has, a storage closet. There's a opinions which hold that a closet which does not have the shear, we still have a hiddur to put a mezuzah there. There's a machlekes about which side to put it on, but we go according to the opinion that says that you put it on the right side going into the main space. It's as if it does not exist, and therefore the door is going into the main area. depends on the shear. If it got the shear, then for sure. If it does not have the shear of 6 by 6 feet, so then there's a hiddur, not a chiyuv.
From the smallest.
Only if you can walk inside. You have to be able to walk inside. It has to be a room. It has to be that you're going in. If you don't, if you have a closet where you don't, you hang your clothing, so then there's no, if you don't walk inside it, like sometimes you go have these closets, you don't really walk in there. Like there's clothing hanging. You could you could go in halfway. It's not really a walk-in closet. That's that you walk inside. It has to be a room. No. Okay. Over here, you see that there's no real porch here. There's literally like these bars, this, whatever you call this thing here, is right by the door. So do you need a mezuzah? No, because you're not going anywhere. Has to be a room. Like we just said, it has to be that you're going into a room. I would recommend they don't do that. Not safe. Okay, over here you see that there's a Pesach, but there's no tzuras of Pesach. A tzuras of Pesach, by definition, has to have that there is a lintel, a mezuzah on the right side. Not a mezuzah like this, but a doorpost. Mezuzah means a lintel. It has to be something sticking out. Over here, there's nothing sticking out. Going out of a tunnel is not called a doorpost.
Like the one that had 2 entrances.
No, it's different. There was. You see, because when you're coming in this way, there's the thing sticking out. Is that considered as, it's called a Rosh Tikra? It's like when there's a square. That's called a tzuras of Pesach. Over here, there's nothing on the right side. You're going out of a tunnel. Going out of a tunnel is not a tzuras of Pesach. Going into a tunnel, so you're going into a tzuras of Pesach. So there's a rabbanon, there's a chiyuv of mezuzah, but going out of a tunnel, unless there would be like a thing coming out on the side and something coming down like this, with that saying, oh, there's a doorpost here halachically, and it's going into a new space. Otherwise, like this, you're not. Yeah, if you added a panel on the right side, it would make it into a doorpost. Yeah, exactly. So it could be very correct. Over here, you're going into it. So like we just said before, is this a doorpost? It is. It is. Because it's a Rosh Tikra. You're going into there's a 95-degree angle. Is that the right angle? 95 degrees. You're going into a square thing. Going into that's considered a doorpost. This square, this thing over here, this makes it into a doorpost. In fact, you're going into a tunnel. Yeah, you see that? Yeah.
On the other side.
This
It's not protruding on the other side.
This is the doorpost. This side.
Does it have a door
Because it comes-
on the left side?
It does.
Yeah.
First, the left side doesn't really make a difference. We look at the right to the left side. If it doesn't have on the left side, but it has on the right side and on the top, then it's enough to make it a mechuyev in Mezuzah. So that could be a shayla if you ask a Rav. You have to usually go to the Rav. Okay, over here you have a tzuras of Pesach only on the left entrance, not on the right entrance. You understand?
Do both of these need?
No, right side is flat. The right side is flush. Well, the truth, I don't see the right side. Maybe I don't see it. It's not clear.
Well,
The right side looks like it's well over here. The right entrance, I don't see a tzuras of Pesach. I only see a tzuras of Pesach on the left entrance. You understand?
Meaning where the steps are, there's no tzuras of
Correct.
Pesach.
There's nothing protruding on the right side.
But on the other.
On the left entrance, there is that post becomes a tzuras of Pesach.
So then you don't put on a mezuzah on the right side?
Correct. Assuming that it's flush, if you just have flush wall, there's no tzuras of Pesach. This entrance over here is a tzuras of Pesach going into the space. You need a mezuzah. Over here also, is this a tzuras of Pesach? Why not? But this is the top. The top is considered if the top meets the top. Oh, so this coming down
Yeah,
meets
that
at the
was the
same
wall of
place
that.
as this mezuzah, this lintel, this doorpost. So because it meets at the same place as this becomes the tzuras of Pesach, and you even switch to
And all of them.
and the same thing over here as well. Yeah, it's going to a space, it's going to a separate area, and therefore it's mechuyev mezuzah.
Even if there's no ceiling.
Yes, yes. That is considered tzuras of Pesach. It's like a shower gate. Over here, do you see a tzuras of Pesach here?
Not to the sphere.
Nope.
Not to the light.
I'm talking about the initial, the first entrance. The first entrance, yes. The first entrance, not. The second one, yes. Correct. Very good. You guys are catching on. You see? You understand why? Does anybody understand why? You don't understand? Over here,
Is that
this was is not necessary. There's nothing protruding here. It's flush. Again, if there's a flush thing over here on the right side, there's no tzuras of Pesach, nothing protruding. If it would be something protruding here, a little beam, should not be a tzuras of Pesach. Halachically, because it's flat,
So why?
You're going out of a tunnel, so to say, there's no Tzurza
So
Pesach.
why in the previous one was, previous one?
Here, you wouldn't, this is. The previous one, what?
Previous picture, we had like, it looked like a bunch of boxes.
Because these posts on the right going in is considered the Tzurza Pesach. These things.
If the wall was even longer, then you wouldn't, but because that's the wall, that's where the wall starts.
Right, if this would be pulled out, and it would just be a flat thing going in, then you would not need a mezuzah, because it's flat here, so this bend turns into a tzurza. Makes it as a doorpost. Okay. Guys, it's getting a little late. Let's try to go through this quickly. Otherwise, I'm gonna get in trouble. My wife. Okay. Over here we have a doorpost, but it's not a doorpost because nothing on top. You see that? There's no lintel on top. There's nothing on top. And it has to have on top to have it. That's not a source of it. Okay. Over here you have something on top, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, I took it down. No, I took it down. Because the fishy one said that they should have one.
Or the metal one piece, or
No, the wood is the opening and the top is the frame.
this one be open and it's.
This needs a mezuzah.
Metal's part of the.
Then it wouldn't need. It has to be stationary. Why? Well, you're coming. Well, really, the mezuzah is going to go on the right. They're coming into the property. On the other side, coming in, and this is a source of Pesach. The whole metal frame is stationary, and the doors open up. Yeah. I'm assuming that the whole if the whole thing swings, then you don't need a mezuzah.
The one before, that.
This one?
top isn't that-
The whole thing moves. No, the whole thing moves. The whole thing moves. Okay, over here, the whole thing moves. There's nothing on top. Okay, so it does not. So it does not need. Correct. Has it now over here? Is this a Pesach? Does not need a mezuzah because nothing on top. Flush on top, right? Flush on top. That's not a source of Pesach halachically.
Flush.
Is this flush?
On the right it is.
On the right it is.
It looks like on top is a little bit flush to me. If it's flush on top, it does not need. I'm not really sure the Mezuzahs over here, but if it's flush on top, it does not need mezuzah. The right side is a source of Pesach. Flush means it's just flat.
Right side looks like it's top.
Who's that? Hey, the color. How's it going? How's the top? Yeah, so the top is flush, and if it does not need a mezuzah, so you have to know these halachas. In case your chassan is not so familiar, but your father knows halachas. Her father is a mumchen in Kriyas mezuzah. You're good. You're covered. Okay, we'll give you some good mezuzahs. So the post on the right is a source of Pesach, but the top is flush. Does not need mezuzah. Okay, over here, what is this?
Doesn't need.
Why not?
Because it's flush on the side.
Okay, so it's actually hard to see it, but it looks like to me that there's a post. It's not so clear, but it looks like there is a post on the side.
Yeah, this is another one.
This is like a little bit of a post. Yeah, it's hard to see in the picture. What about over here?
Oh, yeah, no, you don't.
Why not?
The right side,
No,
the top.
The right.
no. It's not flush.
Oh, no, guys, look.
This is square. It's an edge. It's hard to see. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, I blame it on this. Okay. No, it's not so clear. It's true. It's not so clear. We gotta get better pictures. Is this flush? No.
No,
This is actually going into. It's meeting at the same point. If we need some mezuzah, yeah. You got it? Yes. It needs a mezuzah, yeah.
the right.
Over here, I'm sorry, it needs a mezuzah over here? So the friend, if it's flush on the right side, it does not need a mezuzah. Does this need a mezuzah?
No.
So why is it mezuzah here?
Because it's.
People don't realize, they don't know. People don't know, they see a doorpost, it looks like a doorpost, it smells like a doorpost. Or we went to people's houses and they have funny stuff. People can save a lot of money if they just put mezuzah only where they need. We have a lot of interesting mezuzahs. Yeah, this over here does not need a mezuzah. You see, this is now over here, they have the mezuzah on the other side. You see that? And it doesn't need a mezuzah on that side. So, if you're going this direction, the way the picture is, no need because it's flush on the right side, right? Now, if you're going the other way, if the derech halicha, the flow of traffic from the main entrance would be going the other direction, you would also not need a mezuzah, correct? Because it's flush on the right side. You're going out of a tunnel. Remember the rule? Going into a tunnel is a tzurza of Pesach. Going out of a tunnel is not a tzurza of Pesach. Sorry? Well, only, yeah, you would need it at the beginning, only if that's a derech halicha. So you have to figure out what's my flow of traffic from the main entrance. If the flow of traffic from the main entrance is going in towards this enclosed space, so that makes the source of Pesach going, I call it into a tunnel. I'm sorry. Which part? Basic,
Explain what it
yeah,
says.
explain it,
Yeah.
translate it.
If, let's say the front door is over here, and if the flow of traffic would come in here. So then you probably would need a mezuzah at the beginning of the tunnel over here, because that would be the right side of it.
I'm so confused. Where's the door?
There's no,
This is-
you
I
have,
don't see it.
right now, we don't know where the front door is.
Which is why it's questionable.
This is why it's questionable.
So I'll explain like this.
Also,
Going into this direction, there's nothing coming out of there, this is flat, okay?
Okay.
So because it's flat, there's no mezuzah needed on this side.
If you're going with.
If the wave, the flow of traffic from the beginning of the house will be going in this direction, going into here,
Yeah,
there will be no mezuzah needed on this side.
right.
Now, what I was saying was, now if the main entrance will be coming from the other direction going here, so then this also would not need a mezuzah here, because you cut, this is, there's nothing protruding over here. You're going out, so to say, of the tunnel, going this direction.
You're
You
saying
don't-
they're
you don't
both
from-
flat.
Where do
They're both non-protruding.
right,
Yes.
right, basically.
Okay, fine. That was so complicated.
Really not though.
So once when you mezuzah up, you just take it down, not even go on there?
Yeah, not necessary. Now over here, you need a mezuzah, it's going into an enclosed area. Right, you see that? It's going into a tunnel. You got that?
Very.
You get the tunnel concept or not really? Basically, you're going into, it comes down on top. And it comes, there's a wall going here on the right side, and you're going into a enclosed space. You go into a smaller area. So this is like a separate space. So you need a mezuzah on the right side, right? Now over here, this is supporting beams or just beauty or whatever, you don't need a mezuzah on this.
Does the A-Rod need a mezuzah?
An A-roof?
Like the posts and the thing of the A-Rod, I think I once saw that. I once saw like a mezuzah attached.
They
to
don't
it.
usually
I
have a
don't think
top.
so. They're not made for entrances. They're not made as an entrance going into a defined space, just random wall, it's like a wall. No, it's not, no. I'm sorry? Go back, yeah.
I have, I'm sorry, when I moved to this apartment, I remember asking you this, and I still never got a clear answer. The people before me never had mezuzah, but I have like a corner like that, but then like literally a couple inches later is the door to the bathroom. So technically speaking, it's going into the tunnel, so we need a mezuzah, but the problem is you're like inches away from the right side would be inches away from the bathroom.
The only thing that's there is a bathroom?
No, there's a bedroom past that.
Okay, so
Mezuzah would go right on.
there was the problem you worried about the fact that it's being exposed to the bathroom or the fact that it's a base shower to a bathroom? So I'd have to see the way it looks. I have to see if it's literally going towards the bathroom, then you don't need a mezuzah. But if it's some space away from it, then you might need it. It depends on the way the setup. But another word, you bring up an interesting point. If there would be, let's say there'd be like a little space, which does not have the shear of a chiyuv of a mezuzah. Let's say like you're going into this little corridor or whatever, and then 3 feet later there's a bathroom, and then that's it. You go into a bathroom. So the question is, do you need a mezuzah here? So the answer is no, because this would be considered a beis shar, which means like a entranceway going into wherever you're going to. A beis shar is mechuyev only if it's going into a room, which is mechuyev into a mezuzah. But if the beis shar is a beis shar for a bathroom, for example, so the beis shar is pater as well. Got it? So only if this would be a big space, then it would be mechuyev regardless. But if it's a small area, so it's called a beis shar, and the beis shar is only chayiv if it's going to.
Small, shower, but there's bathroom on one side and bedroom.
So then you would
on
need a
the other
mezuzah because it's going a beis shar for the bedroom as
side.
well.
Bedroom.
Yeah. Okay, so back to this. Does this need a mezuzah? These purple posts, they do not need a mezuzah because they are just supporting the roof. It's not made to go into a specific space here. If it was made to go because you want to protect from the rain, and it's like kind of like this is the place where you hang out when it's raining, and you want it to be it was made and it's like, this is like a separated space. So then it'd be a shayla for Rav.
If you have a chair.
But usually this space would be considered, I would tell someone, no, you don't need a mezuzah. It's not really considered as independent area.
On the road.
No, so you need a mezuzah going to the house, but you don't need a mezuzah for this space. This is not a room. Okay, over here, it's hard to see what's going on here. So maybe we should just skip it. It looks like it's supporting beams. So supporting beams do not need a mezuzah. Supporting beams don't need a mezuzah. Or beauty. Could we just supporting a beauty? Does not need a mezuzah. Okay. Over here, what is this? Are these supporting beams? Or this is really separating going into a separate area?
Like the ladder.
It's a porch. So it depends. Right, so it's actually, this is a good shaila. I would have to see and figure out with the balabas what it's for. I mean, this could be really just as a separate space, or it could be just what? Yes, it could be that you might want to put a mezuzah here as a hider, just as an extra a hider, because it might be considered a separate area, and yeah, maybe. But I'm giving you the foundation to understand how a Rav would pass it. This is a regular chiyuv to have a mezuzah. It's not a deraisa, by the way. You know why? It's only mechuyev deraisa if it has a door. All these cases is not a deraisa. And important to know. Yeah, it's a derabbanan. This is like a random thing. I don't think it's a mechuyev. Now over here, going the other direction, going from the main entrance is the white doors over there, coming this direction. Now, if it's going into a big open space and it's kind of defining now, I'm going from these posts into a beautiful big space, so then maybe you might need a mezuzah. But if these two posts are just for beauty, so then beauty does not need a mezuzah.
But they are,
But
like
they
you
have
see,
the
they have,
top
yeah, they have it.
No, it has a Tzursa Pesach. It does. So the question is, why is it there? If it's there to divide, need a mezuzah. If it's there just for yoifi and beauty, it is part of the wall, but still, it's still halachically Tzursa Pesach. So it depends really what's going on over here. If you're coming in this direction and you go into a big open area, so then I would think that needs a mezuzah because you're going into a living room, dining, whatever it is.
You can see there's a couch over there.
So you would think that it needs a mezuzah.
Pick up on the food.
This is just like a supporting thing. It doesn't look like you need a mezuzah here, supporting the roof. This is like a weird kind of entrance here, but you might need a mezuzah here. Yeah, you would. This is also just like it's not really a room. It's just like, holding the ceiling up. Again, this is not really going into a room. This, I cannot really see what's happening. It looks like a regular going into a room over there. Oh, what's with this case? Over here, you have it going into a room. But the question is, do you need to put a mezuzah on the posts or on the wall, on the right side? Yes, the wall. Because the posts are just for beauty. Oh, here we have, okay, what is this? Who could tell me what this is? Emergency room. This is emergency exit need a no. An emergency exit is not made to use. It's not made to use. So the answer really would be, if you use it because that's what people use, so then you need a mezuzah.
You use it to get people, yeah.
If it's used only for what it's meant to be used for, so then it does not need a mezuzah. But if it's used, unofficially, like in a school and everybody uses that door, so then you would put a mezuzah there. But essentially, an emergency door is made for emergencies, and therefore,
But if
Potter.
it's used, let's say, only during fire drill.
correct. So then you don't use.
Then you don't.
No need. Yeah,
This one I would say no.
this is not a chiyuv. It has to be straight up, flat down. There's no chiyuv. The same idea here. No chiyuv.
The tractors.
Do not need. Yeah, this is going into a house. I don't see the question. It's a pashta case going right. So going around.
Double door, they both need.
This is a double door.
Last one of the flights.
Yeah, but there's two doors.
Closet.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's a good question. There's actually a better case soon with double doors. The door which you use is which determines what where the mezuzah
But the white.
is the actual door, not the screen or whatever that is. It happens to be over here. Regardless, it looks like it's going into the house. So you put on the right side going in. But let's say you have, it's more common. The question would be, let's say you're going from the house to a veranda, porch, whatever you call it here, and you have like this. You have let's say you have a screen door going one way and the regular door going the other way. So it goes based on Haketzir, right? We said the question is which way you push, and now the question would be which way do you do it? So it goes according to the actual main door.
Does this need two mezuzahs?
No.
No.
That's called Baal Taisif. You don't put two mezuzahs. You never put two mezuzahs. There is one case where you do put two, where some people put two mezuzahs, which is very strange. Rabbi Lokovsky, he told me that he puts two mezuzahs in a particular case. It's a whole shaila about a particular door where you have a room which is basically smaller than the shear, and the door, that's complicated, where the door pulls outwards and there's no window. So the question is, do you do Haketzir or do you do Yimina Nichnas? So there's a case where basically it's not clear, so he puts on both sides. He told me that it does on both sides to go to both opinions, which is it's interesting. Okay, well, maybe we might get to that soon, but okay. So over here, this is a very, very good, very important thing to know. A lot of people make mistakes. You basically have the two inner panels move, the two outer panels are stationary. Where does the mezuzah go? If you put it in the wrong place, you do not have the mezuzah.
right of the inner one.
In the door.
Basically, it has to go. Does the mouse work over here? Could you see my mouse?
Yeah.
It goes right here. Well, the question really is where you push. And let's say you push the doors inwards. Let's say you go into the house like this. Well, it makes a difference. If you're going from a Shusha Rabbah, it makes no difference, right? If you push or pull. But let's say you push the door, so then the mezuzah has to go right here. If you put the mezuzah over here, you are not yaitz the mitzvah because this is not the doorpost. This is stationary. And this is very often people make a mistake. Very important to know. This is probably, I would say this is the most common error people make. That they don't realize, they think that this is the part of the door and they put it over here. The doorpost over here? No. The doorpost is here. And you know what we find it also?
You put it in the inside over there, because it looks like
It looks like it
pulls
pulls out.
You could put it on the other side. Yeah, you could, yeah. No, you could, there's two different opinions. And you could do either one. You could either put it within 3.3 inches on the surface over here. And your yaitza within, it has to be within 3.3 inches. If it's more than 3.3 inches, it's not on the doorpost. Because over here, you're putting it on the outside, but you have no choice. So we say within 3.3 inches, within a tefach, is still considered on the outside, on the doorpost. If you could put it on the other side, in the doorpost, on the actual doorpost itself, that's probably better. Okay, let's go back to it. There's a very common case where you have sliding doors, okay? Sliding doors, and then the panel on the right side stationary, and this door moves. So a lot of people put it all the way on the right. Sometimes you have to put it on the inside, whatever. It's the same concept. Let's go back to it. You have sliding doors? So you got to make sure it's, you don't put it on the right side of the stationary panel. It has to be on the left side of the stationary panel.
What if those outer doors?
So here's what you
they're actually doors, but they were never really used. You know, the types of like they're pegged down, no one really opens them.
It's a good question. So it has to be locked. It has to be screwed down. If it's just locked, because like you use practically the left one, but the right one could technically be opened up, then you put it on the mezuzah on the right. So then that's counted as a door, and you put a mezuzah on the right side. But if it's screwed down, furnished. What is that? What is it? Boiler room. So if it has the shear, then yes. If it does not have the shear, so then if it has you put a broom there or whatever, then it's called a base out. It's like a storage room. And a storage room is a hit to put a mezuzah. If it has the shear, so then you should put a mezuzah.
That's two doors. It's so annoying.
Right. Okay. So here you see you have two doors. So one of them is like the what's it called? The further one out looks like a screen thing. The first one is the main door, so therefore you'd be putting on the right side coming into the house. You got it?
What did you say before about sliding doors?
Sliding door. Some people have sliding doors, and then there's a stationary panel on the right side. That stationary panel, if you put them all the way on the right side of that panel, so you're not yotze, because the stationary panel is not counted. That the door finishes on the left side of the panel.
So where would you?
So it has to go on the left side of the stationary panel. Every case, sometimes it has to go on the other on the inside. Okay, over here, this is a very common question. You have a door going up, going down to a basement, going up to the attic, whatever. Which side do you put the mezuzah on? Who knows? The answer is Heker Tzir. What's Heker Tzir? Who remembers? Correct. Basically, it goes on the right side when you push the door. Push, right. We said any place you have a door, other than the main entrance, it goes on the right side when you push. Only when you go from a Shusha Rabbim, so then, in other words, the shaila is, what's the derech halicha? What's point A, what's point B? So the Alter Rebbe says that any other door besides for a main entrance, because the main entrance, it's very obvious what's point A, what's point B. You go from the Shusha Rabbim into your Shusha Yachid. But if you're going in the house, between one room to another room, any room which you have a suffix and there's a door, so now that answers the question, because whichever way you push the door, that's going to determine that the way you push the door, you're going from point A to point B. So over here, the point A is upstairs, point B is downstairs, is here. So then there's no records there. Flow of traffic. Flow of traffic. You have to figure out what's the flow of traffic from the main entrance, and then the way you flow, the flow of traffic, on the right side going in that direction. Which way?
Say when you walk into the main entrance, everything is this way.
Correct, unless there's a door. The question is you have to first figure out, is there a Tzursa Pesach? And then if it's a Tzursa Pesach, which side? If it's a regular door and it swings, so then it's very simple. You always go Heker Tzir in the house. The question is, if there's no door, what do you do? Okay, so here's Heker Tzir. A lot of doors, right? Okay, now the question is, which one moves?
They probably both movable, just some of them are locked in.
So I suspect it's not sliding, it's probably, you probably push this. You push them, you can see there's a bar, right? You push. So every set of double doors, you put a mezuzah on the right side when you push. Oh, one second.
They don't,
So let's explain the case. Let me make up the case. Let's say you come from the outside and you push the door. Okay?
Well,
You pull, you tell, how does it, you pull? So what, let me ask you, if you pull the door, what do you do? Come from outside, you pull the door, where do you put it?
it's from the outside.
Come from the outside, right to going no matter what. Good.
But didn't you say that the first, the door, the
second
main entrance
door.
is the real one, so that's the second one, not the first one.
No. You're mixing up. Very good. No. The door going from Mezuzah Rabbim is the first entrance, always right to going in. I was saying that if you have a space in between the first door and the main and the next door, which is going to be going into the big space, is not a dal area. So then the first door is not a chiyuv deraisa because it doesn't have the shir. That's what I was saying.
So this space.
Over here it happens to be, this has a shir for sure. It's massive. The shaila, what I want to get to is like this. Let's say the first door, it makes no difference. You push, you pull. You go on the right side going in because it's right side going in. That's the derech b'yascha. No, there's two sets. There's two sets by each space. The question is like this: the second set of doors, if you pull them, do you do heketzir or do you do yimin hanechnas? In other words, do you say that because I'm pulling it, so I do heketzir, which means I'm going to go on the right side, coming from the inside, going back outside, or do I say I'm going to go on the right side, going inwards regardless, because that's the way I walk in here? The answer is, like whoever just said the right side, right? You got it right. Not heketzir, no, not heketzir, right side. You do not, it's considered as, it's still the entrance. In other words, it has to make sense, heketzir. Heketzir basically, again, is trying to figure out what's point A, what's point B. You came in from the outside, and now you basically have nowhere to go. There's no doors over here in between, right? In the lobby. If there's a lobby like 770 where you can go downstairs, you can go out, you can go from different things, different doors. So then you do heketzir. In other words, the door going into heketzir means that whatever you push goes on the right side. So whichever way you push it. So when you go downstairs to 770, I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah.
So there's doors. Yeah, so there you go, right to coming in. Now you have a lobby. You go down, so you can make a left going down to the washrooms, or to the lockers, or you can go to the right side. There's you go to the right to the left, and then there's a lobby in between, and then there's the next doors going into 770 into the shul. Okay. Now those doors, I think you pull them. So the question is, do you do right side going into the shul, or do you do heketzir? Which means that you pull it, so it goes on the left side, as if you're going from the shul this way. So in 770, because there's other doors, so you go heketzir. Over here, because there's nowhere else to go besides for going into the shul, so therefore you go right side going in.
Get on the left.
There.
You're on the left in the picture.
So it could be that over here there's another door that we don't see. But if there would be no door, so then this would be a mistake, because you go right side going in no matter what. Okay, you guys want to stop or you want to go further? Should we just go quickly to the last little?
Anything
That's all.
specific you need to tell?
So let's see if anything interesting. Hold on a second. 1 second. Let me just see that. Okay, elevator. You guys outside elevator. So the elevator, we said the first floor, right side going up. Want to go to the second floor, third floor, and any other floor, right side going out. Okay. I think we're done. What's over here? These are showing you wrong things with the mezuzahs in the wrong place. You see here, you go on Mitzvah, you see people have mezuzahs in random places. Yeah. It's not the right place. It's not the right side, not the right height, not the right anything. What do you mean? Oh, so glass door is a b'diavad situation. You put it within 3.3 inches on the edge of the edge of the door post, but it has to be within 3.3 inches. Like we said before, if it's more than that, you're not yet.
What's wrong with this?
The truth is over here it's a little bit high. It's a little bit high. Yeah, it's a little bit high. It's totally like above. Yeah. What's over here? This is very tall. You probably do shoulder height over here because it's too tall. Oh, this is a very interesting case. Over here, you need a mezuzah. You know where?
By the small thingy, the counter.
So it depends. If this counter is 10 tefachim high, 10 tefachim is how many inches? Very good. A tefach is 3.3. She was listening. If a tefach is 3.3 inches, 10 tefachim is 33 inches. You got a maths. They teach maths over here. Yeah. So if this thing is 3.30 like this, yeah, this is probably a little less than 33. It's around 33 inches high. if this piece is this height or higher, then you have to measure a third from here. So let's say this is the thing, you put the mezuzah around there.
What?
So the mezuzah.
Yeah, it's a very weird, it's a very strange case, but that's for them. Because this is the doorpost, and this continues on, and it all goes to the same
Wait,
space.
so
So, no, you just mezuzah.
Do I show on the screen?
Right there. What, yeah?
Maybe
So that.
Do it with the mouse, so people on the screen.
The mezuzah goes right here,
Why is it? Somebody.
So that's why.
because this is where you go in. This is the narrowest space. The doorpost is the narrowest place where you go through. You cannot walk over here, that's why. So no, you walk this direction.
Switch. Like, you know, show where you're going to the Rebbe's room area.
So
It said it used to be on the wall, but now they moved it to that like little ledge.
Wow.
over here is the same kind of case. However, over here it's similar. The only thing is over here, the top does not go all the way over. You see how it goes deeper in?
Yeah. That would qualify, right?
So therefore it does not qualify exactly.
No.
No,
There's no over, there's no overhead. How
confused? Which part? Oh, the architecture, yeah, a little bit, yeah. So, because today's architecture is so complicated and so innovative and original, that's why there's a lot more shilas today about Kfis Mezuzah. Amol, you had what, 5 kind of situations. Yeah, this house, this door, we have a room and this. And today they have very strange designs, and all the designs cause problems or make it more complicated to have to get the mezuzah in the right place. Yeah. Kind of, it has to be mostly covered. Yeah, it has to, if there's only like a drop coming out, then there's no. Yeah, it has to be. It's a good question. I don't know. That's a good shayla. I've never really had a shayla that would actually have to ask that. Most of the time, it's like kind of good question. I'm assuming it has to cover the person. You have to go in and it's covering you. If it doesn't cover you, so that's not really the doorpost. I'm assuming so, but I have to ask you. Over here, it does. There's no doorpost. Over here, because it go. 1 second. Over here, it's flush in the wall, so I don't think it needs to be mezuzah. Yeah, it's flush in the wall. Flush. You like that word? It's a new word. Okay, good. Over here, yeah, but you need a mezuzah. Over here, you need a mezuzah. Right here. Right here. Also here. Also over here. Over here also. Over here, where do you put a mezuzah? Who knows? Where do you measure from? Shlish Elyon from where? From the very top or from the straight part? So halachically, Ikra Din, we say the straight part, but we said that if you could get it according to both opinions, so the matov. So you measure from the very top. If the Shlish Elyon could go without hitting the top tefach, and you can go into the Shlish Elyon of the very higher place as well, we do that as we do that. Same thing here. This is a regular case. This is a regular case also, whatever. Oh, here's a very weird case. You have a very wide Tzuras Pesach. Very wide. So over here, actually, there's a din. If it's more than 3 tvachim wide, there's opinions that say you can put 2 mezuzahs. Yeah. Yeah.
Like one on the outside and one by the outside.
Yeah. If it's more than 3 tvachim wide, you can put a mezuzah over here, put a mezuzah over here, and you put a mezuzah on the actual doorpost as well. Because it's technically 2 different doorposts. Yeah. Ah, you asked this before. Glass. Okay, so now this panel where it says royal apartment does not move, understandably, right? It doesn't move. So the mezuzah has to go right over here within 3.3 inches, assuming that this door pushes in, or that this is going from a Shus Rabbim, like a shared area, and it pulls, you still do rights to going in, and it has to go within 3.3 inches. Because if it's more than a tefach, you're not yet.
Doors. If both doors move, but you always keep one door locked.
So she has before, if the door is just locked, and you could easily just open it up, so then it's counted like a regular door nut. It doesn't change the status. If it's screwed shut, that changes the Metzias, and now that screwed shut door becomes the wall. And then you put it on that screwed shut thing.
It's very hard to get the mezuzah, but it still belongs.
Right. I would recommend you keep that door open and lock the other one. So this way the kids can kiss the mezuzah, or anybody can kiss the mezuzah. So now this mezuzah is on the door itself. I don't know what's going on here. No, it's not, but it's in the wrong place. Because it's tilted the wrong way, and it's supposed to be on the doorpost, and over here, he put it on the outside, which technically would be yaitza because it's within 3 inches, but
But it's too much to the top.
it's tilted the wrong way, and it's a little bit too high, correct, yeah.
What's considered the top?
You measure the doorpost itself. No.
So then it's just the part.
The doorpost itself, yeah. Oh, you see over here, this is okay. This is where we're talking about people make mistakes. No, the truth is over here, the right panel. Right, no, right, this is the case. If you would put the mezuzah all the way here, because you would think, oh, this is the doorpost, you're making a mistake, you're not yotza. Because this panel over here, not the left panel, the right panel does not move. So the mezuzah go on the inside over here. See where I'm pointing? You go on the other side, on the inside, yeah.
You put on.
You go-
put on the-
On the inside, you climb, you walk around and you put it on the inside. That's where the mezuzah goes. Because people think that it has to go on the outside, so they're gonna put it all the way on the right. But that's not the doorpost, and you're not yotza. People have this over here, and they mamish are not yotza. We have problems. I had stories, we had issues, and this was the problem. They were like, "What do you mean?" But this is the doorpost. I'm like, "No, it's not. This doesn't move. That's not the door." No, the door moves, but the panel over on the right and on the left does not move. I tell you, this is the most common mistake that I find in Kriyas Mezuzah. Over here, the same concept, where I'm not sure what slide. Yeah, the left panel slides. So they put it on the left side of the right panel. Looks like it's in the right place, right?
Correct?
Yeah. Over here, what's moving? The right panel, the right door opens. It's the same concept where that if the right door opens, so then the mezuzah has to go over here, as opposed to, it looks like it's metal, wood or whatever it is, this, as opposed to over here. You see where they have it, the mezuzah? It's in the wrong place, right? You see that? It's wrong. That's what I was saying, that a lot of people have it in the wrong place. They think that this is the doorpost. It's not the doorpost. Mamish, no, it's not counted. Because this thing doesn't move. I don't know what's there. This is a weird case. You know where the mezuzah has to go over here? You can show me in a minute. Let's wrap it up. This doorpost, there are some opinions that say that it should go here. On the wood.
Where do you say doorpost?
This is the entrance, because this is the entrance. This is the wall. On the banister here. Yeah, this is basically, some opinions say you put over here. On the wood, because this is the door.
Up the
Not
stairs.
upstairs.
Into the
Above
dining
the
room.
dining, like,
Correct, because this wooden thing is like the doorpost. Yeah.
Wow.
Something you can put
Over here, you're going into. Well, it goes on the wood, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So if we go on the, like, all the way on the right.
Over here, that's not the doorpost, right? The shaila is about putting a mezuzah over here, right? The shaila, Mustami, you need a mezuzah here also, yeah. Yeah, mezuzah needs over there as well.
Wow.
Over here,
So,
so this is like this. This is a tzuras of Pesach, but people have mezuzahs here. A lot of people have mezuzahs on this. The question is the design,
is that for beauty or? is it-
right? If it's there as a going in, so then you can put a mezuzah. I mean, see people have mezuzahs here. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's like interesting. It's like not. I don't know. Not so clear. What's over here? This guy has a mezuzah on the wrong place. See how it's the wrong place? Look, if you guys walk away knowing just this one din, it was worth the whole share, because this is something you're going to bump into a lot, and it's very important to tell the person the pasha is not yotza. I mean, it's not the doorpost. You see how many? This is just a lot of pictures of the same concept. Bring out this point. Over here, it could be either way. It has to be either over here or on the other side of the door, but it has to be on this area, on the doorpost itself. Same problem. You see that? The mezuzah they put over here is supposed to be over here. Over here, this is a sliding door, so this door slides, it goes over here, that's correct, over here. And then over here, we have to go over here. So if they walk in from the other side, so then it'll be, yeah, you have to right to come here. So it depends. Right, but over, so, okay, so the question is this outside enclosed Rosh Hashanah? If it's a person's enclosed Rosh Hashanah, so then it's going from room to room, and you go there halicha, you go the flow of traffic from the main entrance going outside. If it's a Rosh Hashanah, so then, like you said, it goes right to coming in, and then it'll be on the other side.
But I have a question. How
Yeah.
is that considered doorpost? Like we were just saying about.
Which one? Which one? The right side, this one? Why is it not a doorpost?
Because we were saying that it has to be the actual door, like.
This is a doorpost. The right panel moves. This right panel moves.
But it's a piece of glass on the side that doesn't slide. No, it's open.
No, it's open. This is open. The right panel slided to the left. The slide to the left. The left panel here is stationary, and the right panel now moved to the left. So this is an open area.
I didn't see it right.
Yeah, it looks like it's like an optical illusion a little bit. Yeah.
Revolving doors, you mean?
Rotating door.
Revolving doors.
I know you're talking about going to like an airport, like those, like those.
Office
So, well, the door itself, the rotating door doesn't need a mezuzah. The Pesach that's going into the rotating entrance, if it has a source of Pesach, then there should be a mezuzah there. In other words, there's like a stationary. So there's a glass thing. So if that has a source of Pesach, depends on what it looks like, but probably would need a mezuzah. Yeah.
So is
But
this
things
mezuzah,
get into that.
is the height
Things
of
what?
it-
Well, obviously, if it's gonna hit, then it wouldn't be good. You gotta do it on the outside, so it shouldn't hit. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Slide.
Okay,
How-
doors.
what's the height of mezuzah? Like,
Shlishalim,
is
this one? Which one?
is it in the top?
Regular third. You measure a third. I'm saying within the top third. Within the top third, yeah. Not lower than the top third. So over here,
Yeah.
so over here, there's different opinions if you count the outer area as the Tzursa Pesach or only the inner frame. They'll probably try to get it on the most narrow, on the actual doorpost itself, or the door itself. However, if you put it on the doorpost a little further out, shoulder height, you would definitely not do Shlishalim. That would be impossible to reach it, and it'll be like out of height. It has to be where you see it. So if you have to go like this to see the mezuzah, there's a problem. It has to be like in a visual, So we try to put on the doorpost of the actual door itself, not of the outside massive doorpost. Even though you would not, it wouldn't be not yaitza if you did that. I'm sorry.
The reason with these measurements, the doorposts were so tall.
So then you go according to shoulder height.
What?
Shoulder height. That's the thing.
Right, isn't-
Yeah,
Is the Inyan to see it or to kiss it?
see it.
No,
What?
it's not.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's not.
Why do we do that?
Out of respect, out of respect.
Oh.
The Rebbe didn't actually kiss it. The Rebbe touched the mezuzah. The Rebbe touched it. Out of respect, you touched it. I'm sorry.
About. It's better to kiss the mezuzah.
Yeah, touching it. There's any of touching the mezuzah. The Rebbe was very into that children, when they go into the room before they go to sleep, should kiss the mezuzah. And I'm,
Like lips.
no, I mean, I'm saying to touch it, to kiss it, whatever. Because then it reminds them that the Abish is in their room, like that the should bring awareness of the Abish with them.
1 second, so the Rebbe would just touch it?
The Rebbe would touch the mezuzah, yeah. Like the Arnei Kodesh also, the Rebbe didn't put his hand to his mouth. The Rebbe would touch it. He would touch it.
Okay, thank you.
So what do we do?
Do whatever your father told you, whatever your mother told you, whatever your husband tells you. You can touch it, you can kiss it. It's either way is fine. Either way is fine.
Like, where did that come from?
Over here we have.
They're uneven.
So this needs a mezuzah only actually by the door itself. And again, this is the same case. Second. Mendel, I'm a shearer. I'll call you in. Let me try in another half an hour. Okay, so we'll do it tomorrow. No problem. No problem. So this, we have, it's the same exact thing that we had, the other, with the panel and people make a mistake. The right panel is not the door. The doorpost is here, right?
Is there one by the?
We're done. That's it.
Do you have another one by the brick?
Right. that's what-
No, because it doesn't meet up in the same place. And also, even if it would, I wouldn't say this is considered like an enclosed area. It's like not really going into it's not really an enclosed area. It has to be that you're going into a space which is considered like a separate area. So you have to be able to have discretion to know is it a separate area, is not. I wouldn't say this is a separate area. Whether it's like 2 feet deep and you're not really going into any area, it's just going into your house. Okay, guys, do you have any questions?
Is everybody okay?
One at a time.
One, two,
Prepare yourselves.
Let there be light.
Wow, it's hard to see.
Okay.
Wow.
Question, what's the
Yeah.
name of the sofer who is married to another?
Married to who?
You know I don't know the name of the sofer who's married to.
I guess it's about to be.
The
Who?
Ukrainian.
safer.
Who's married to Ukrainian safe? Answer is that.
The name of
The name
the
of the
safer
safer.
that everyone should be very.
The name of the safer?
Who wrote
Yeah.
that?
His name is
Something.
His name is what's his name? Yanko, I think. How do you know? You know that? You made it up? Yeah, I think his name is Yanko. Iskevich. How's he gonna help you? If he sells his mezuzahs, he's not gonna put under his name, that people know. He's gonna he even put out a video saying, I want to change my name, I want to change my number, change my this, but he's a real crook. Okay. Very crook. You know what?
Oh, yeah, let me.
He tried to sell to me actually.
Okay, There's a big
And I
shout
told them,
out
I'm not going to.
here,
Oh,
Malcolm
free advertisement.
But Montgomery.
It's on Kingston between Montgomery and Empire.
The first thing that we try to do is make sure the sofer are reliable. We're very careful about the sofer. We don't say like, we're Machenstan, and I deal with most of my sofer. I know who they are. Not all of them. Sometimes I buy from a friend who's a sofer who knows who buys it from. But most of the time, I try to reference and verify who is the sofer. Who is he?
You know about the one that can stay medium?
Who?
That are required.
I have no idea what he does. I have my own place.
But-
I don't know what he does. I don't vouch for anybody. I can only vouch for what I do. We try to do things right. I don't know what anybody else does. Sure, everybody's trying to do. You have to just verify what's the standard. Wherever you go, you got to verify what's the standards of the place. What?
When you buy the random people, you only, it's separate. It's out.
Would I only again answer?
When he buys a very.
I
You
don't
have
like.
to ask him,
You have to
right?
ask him. You have to ask him. I can't say.
Yeah.
What does it mean by from random people? You don't want to just buy from random people. You want to make sure you know where you're getting from. You don't want to buy from random people. You want to verify and make sure that they're reliable. A random person is not good, right? Like this Ishkovich guy, he's a random guy. He sent me WhatsApp. He's like, "Could you? Like, I have mezuzahs, very cheap." I was like, "Thank you very much. Who are you?" He's like, "I'm a sofer next to Hadich." I was like, "Really? Who knows you?" So he said, reached out to the shluchim in the area. I spoke to a few shluchim, I forgot the names, and they said, "This guy, we heard of him, but we don't really know him very well. We wouldn't vouch for him. He lives far away on his own in the middle of nowhere." And he kept on asking. I said, "No, I'm leave me alone. I'm not getting from you. I'm sorry." Now there was another sofer a year or two later who didn't just say, "No, I'm not buying from you." He started investigating into him, and he verified this guy's a crook. He was taking a bus like 10 minutes before Shabbos, and people were like saying, "This guy doesn't live 10 minutes away." So he obviously was going on Shabbos. And then there was other little like red flags, and he verified. And Rabbi Brian told me that this guy is married to someone, and there's no Seder Kedushin done, there's no paper that she's a Jew, there's no proof that she's a Yid. He's married to a guy, and the guy's not from.
Not wrong.
Basically, if he's married to a guy and he's living on his own with no proof.
Which part of that added up?
How does this turn into fun?
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys do not have to stay,
One
but
second.
we have some people that want to have some fun.
Quick pause before that. First of all, I want to thank you so much for speaking
You're
for
very
us.
welcome. You're very
We
welcome.
are very lucky.
Thank you for pushing me
and
to call. Thank you very much.
really-
You were the one that was lots of me or someone else?
It was my
Was
my
you?
assistant.
I have no
but-
idea who it was. I was kind of okay. Whoever it
Yeah.
was good. They pushed till they got me to come.
Baruch Hashem, yeah. Baruch Hashem, we're very
Okay.
grateful. We wanted to give you a gift on behalf of all
Cool.
of us.
That's very
So
nice of you.
thank you so much.
wow.
A good safer, a good.
That is
slippery.
very nice of you. I wasn't expecting any gifts tonight. Okay.
We're very, very grateful, especially, and thank your
Thank
wife
you.
on our behalf. We're very lucky to have her.
Your husband's a good friend of mine.
Yes, you guys grew up
We
together.
grew up in the same class, going back 40 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem. In Limit Chassidus, we usually take a selfie with our speaker. Are you up for that? Are you okay? Okay, so if you just turn this way, then we will be able to see you and you start stuff. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
We should have taken
thank
it
you
when everybody
so
was here.
much.
Now we lost half.
I-
Okay.
We'll practice.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can answer questions. Thank you so much.
Don't forget Sphera. How does it turn from this right into?
So it starts off as a big piece of height.
What?
It starts off as a one big square, and then it has to go onto a frame of like some kind of mold. Used to be that they couldn't do it film like this because they didn't have the technology or the electricity or the power to be able to squish a very heavy piece of hide into a vise like this. So it starts off like this, and then eventually it ends up like this. Keep the foot with a lot of pressure and heat. It gets now it's very firm, but when it's wet, so then it's soft and it's more flexible. So they squish it into this, and then they squish it to this, and they turn it to this, flatten it down.
Okay. How old is this?
It's like this, like this, like this, like this, then like this. There's 4 slots, always hollow, right? So the 4 compartments over here is literally 4 separate. It's prudus, has to be separated. So you see in here, there's 4 slots. See that?
Are these?
No glue is allowed to be inside it.
The same small.
Same slots. And has to all be one piece of height. If there's a crack, the reason why these things were taken off the conveyor belt, so to say, is because of the hole. See, there's a hole there. Once there's a hole, it's not kosher anymore. So here you see there's like cracks. On the sides, there's cracks. Now, something that's very interesting, a lot of men don't know this, I'm gonna share with you, because we're here, we may as well just give you some education. It's very important to know that the batim of tefillin are just as important as the parashas. A lot of times, there's a lot of companies out there who make thousands of batim, there's big companies out there, big names. And when there's a very big production line, mistakes can happen. What can happen? Lots of things. There could be holes between the mezuzahs. These are the mezuzahs, like separation between the four compartments. There could be holes that you don't know about. A hole still doesn't pass, has to be two holes next to each other. There's different dinner. What's very serious is the bias has to be square. Allah has to be perfectly cube. Okay? When you look at a bird's eye view, it can be as tall as you want. The Rebbe says you can have a meter high. But this way has to be perfectly cube. Okay? So you're taking something which is like this, and you're squishing it into place. What happens is, with time, it can start fanning out. How? Because when you're wearing it on your head and you put pressure here, and there's no glue holding it down, it's not supposed to be glue. What can happen is it starts fanning out like this, and this starts opening up, right? Because when you put pressure here, automatically it's gonna go like that. You get it? Literally putting pressure, look what happens. See? So, and naturally, pressure happens with time. So how do they make sure that it stays square? So a lot of guys who are making batim do not do it the way they're supposed to. When they do it, they put glue.
Different bats and stuff like in squares.
Technology.
You don't
They
have
put
to
glue
like
to
shape it,
hustle.
nothing.
They have to cut it down with heat, with
You could
pressure.
cut it down.
But so you can cut it down, but you're not allowed to expose a crack. If there's a crack on the wall of bias, possible.
Huh.
So what happens is they basically have to
They do
keep,
shape it. That was my question.
it has to be square, and there has to be no glue here.
If they put glue to hustle.
So now if they put glue in here, not necessarily. If they put glue in here, if there's a glue all the way up to the very top, halachically it's very problematic. According to Alter Rebbe, it's not kosher. Maybe there's some opinions who say that if it's glue, a lot of glue, it's still kosher, but you have it. But if the thing is glued up to the top, it's a problem because it becomes like one big block. If there's a little bit of glue, in halacha, in general, we go according to the majority, right? According to Rav. Achi Rabim Lahates, right? So if you have a third glue, 2/3 no glue, is it kosher? Yeah. Now, the Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe Siddur actually says, for Chabad, he's giving an instruction for the Anash, that he says that what happens is when they make the bias, do we see the ring? Over here maybe? No. Over here we see more. Also not. I didn't bring the one else. Okay. You see over here? On the bottom over here, there's like grooves. By the four, see these grooves here? Which basically go below this line. There's grooves. Because of the folds, so there's grooves. How do they keep the bias should stay like this? They put glue underneath. They stick the glue down in here, inside, and then they squish it down, and then it holds. The problem is the glue could rise. If the glue rises, you got a problem. If it rises a little bit, so the belt says, okay, not a big deal. Ruben put this, that's fine. But if the glue rises a lot, so then according to all opinions, it's a problem. Now Alter Rebbe comes along and says, and Siddur, we don't want any glue. We want it to be prudes legamri, which means that it should be separated all the way down to the bottom. Meaning Chabad, no glue at all. We're very macro about it. That all the way down to the tetura, the whole entire ktsitza, this is called the ktsitza, the entire thing should be without any glue. Now, if you have a knife over here, you guys have a knife? No, a sharp knife? No? That's not urgent, but if you have, I can show you. And we can test to see if it's a prudes. I highly doubt it.
So how
Now, a
do
lot
you-
about so so when we check tefillin in the office, people come to us check tefillin all the time, right? So what do? We gently see if it's prudes by putting in a blade, and we check a little bit to see is the knife going down. What happens? There's two scenarios, or three scenarios, or really two.
That's gonna be the sharp tip.
Yeah, very thin and sharp. Now, what happens is if scenario number one, the blade goes down nicely, and you feel that's prudes, very nice. You can feel.
After you take out the parchment.
No. It's you're not hitting the parchment. The parchments are in the holes.
Oh.
It's in between. You're not hitting it. People don't realize. Yeah, it's in between. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Try and see what happens. You watching? So there's a lot of glue in here. See, this bias is not a good quality bias. Glue, which means that whoever had this bias, it probably wasn't yours. It's probably just from them. See that? You hear like glue? That's not put to the gamma, it's junk. Or it wasn't made modedik, it's cheap.
So how do you ensure that it stays together without glue?
Should I get this out without hurting anybody? So that's the trick. The batamachas have to have techniques and they have to know what they're doing. That's their problem. I gotta be buying from a Batamacher who's reliable, a good Batamacher. Now, so, okay. One scenario is, what just happened now? We put it down, it didn't really go very well. Now, I'm not gonna do it to someone's film, smash it down the way, it's gonna ruin the bias. Very good chance of ruining the bias. I don't do that. We do it a little bit, like this. Oh, we feel it's separated, very nice. Like this. A little bit. It goes, now here, I feel there's glue. What I'll do is tell the customer, you got glue in your bias. Put this, not put this to the guy. The guy might tell me, oh, but I want to put the guy. I say, okay, well, I don't want to ruin your bias. Should I try to get it down more? Yeah, go do it. Try. Sometimes it works and it comes out fine. You know, nichnas b'shalom, that's a b'shalom. Sometimes I tell it it's not going, it's stuck. So either you want your bias to be put as ruby put or you want to switch it up to. You understand? Now, sometimes you put the knife here and literally you cannot get by even like a millimeter, it doesn't go. You're literally hitting a wall. Could be for one or two reasons. Either it's glued up all the way. And if it's glued up all the way, that's a problem in itself. Or because more of a serious, it's not more serious, it's another whole thing. It's called that the line over here is not really representing the true division of the bias. It's called a mechitza mezuyefes, it's a fake line. Okay, what happens? When they make the bias, this bias, right now you see separations. The bias basically was perfectly flush. Back to that word, flush. You like the word? Literally, we're talking about a thick piece of hide. They flattened it down. These the three lines here, you don't see them. Literally, it's like flat. You don't see nothing. How do you get to see these lines? How do you see the lines? This is not natural. This, after they finished making the bias, they took a pin, a matzea, and they took a ruler, and they went like this. Boom.
Oh my God.
Now, if those lines, which are just like kind of created lines, don't reflect the real division of the bias, what do you end up with? Partial bias. So now we're talking about batim, we're making thousands of batim. And not always, look, you see how we're talking natural stuff here. Not always is one division the same size as the other one. But when you look at the bias, very often it looks perfectly beautiful. Sometimes it can be fake lines. And I saw there was a Chabad guy in Kronitz, lives right next to my office, came to my office a few years ago. And as we usually do, we check the printers a little bit. Now, a lot of Sefrim don't do that because they don't want to touch the bias, Chazaka, Mises, above Mises. Check to see. The Rebbe says in English, if you check the film, check the batim, the mitzvah, whatever you can. Obviously, you can't check if the guy was Jewish because you don't know if cracks under the paint. But there's a certain thing that you could check. You got to do it. So we checked this guy's bias. We do it to everybody. And literally, what happened was we went over here. We went like this a little bit, and all of a sudden, a line opened up over here. Started cracking crackling and opened up another. It veered away from this line because it was a fake line. So what we did was we basically we exposed it. We revealed the mechitza, the real mechitza, the real separate, the real division.
Oh my God.
You understand what we're saying? So again, it could either be because it's glue or it could be because it's a fake line. So what we do is we always check to see. That's fine. That's okay. It's not so pretty, not so nice, but it's kosher.
You were saying about if after the tefillin is used and the pressure and then the holes start fanning out like that.
Yeah.
And then you got into like how the glue or not glue. So that happens to all tefillin, that eventually it's gonna open
It doesn't
up.
have to happen. If the bias was made, the truth is
Like, do
40,
people
50
place it after?
sometimes
use?
things happen and things could happen with time. Yeah, so you might want to change it. But sometimes you lose the ribua. Sometimes it could be corrected, sometimes not. It's complicated, depends on the situation. But it used to be that the Batanach didn't really know how to make it, and they would be relying on the glue. So they'd be putting glue and they're relying on it, and the Ruby brothers, the Babich Batanach officially were supposed to be careful about it because Chabad were makra about it, but some of the Batanach didn't know what they're doing. So they were putting glue here and it was going up and they were shtick. Today already the Batanachos know techniques how to build that the pressure should be going inwards, so therefore you don't need to have glue and it's holding nicely without having glue.
What did all the names?
Right.
150 years ago, they didn't even have gases. They didn't have this kind of bathroom. They used it's called dakas, like the Rebbe's film, wasn't this? You see the Rebbe's film were more like wavy, not as sharp, not as so to say pretty physical. Like it wasn't so perfectly sharp because it wasn't. It was made. Doesn't say it has to be pointy where you have to hurt your finger when you're like this. It has to be square. Rebbe's bias. I mean, my tefillin dakas also like the Rebbe's. I got it from Yossi all the time. He makes dakas. Doesn't say it has to be sharp edges. It has to be square. So the Rebbe's film was square, but just it wasn't sharp to the T. Still halachically 100% fine. It was still square, just that it's not 100% sharp like that.
What's the
Like
minus
rounded
percent of
edges?
darkness?
The mile of dakas is that it could be shchutas shlil.
There could be what?
It could be shlil, which means that it's from a baby, a fetus. It's basically from a very small, an animal which never went out into the world. And the halacha says that there's two milas. One is because it says it never had a relationship, and also that it never did. And it says also maybe Leitan, I don't remember. There's another reason it didn't like more spiritual. It never came into the world. So there's a certain spirituality over here with the thing. So Shulchan Aruch says it's a mila to have shlil. And shchut shlil is a mila, but you can have shchutas for this as well. But the mila of the dakas, it could be a shlil. You can't have shlil for this.
Like, why aren't they being produced as, like, why are they?
Because no one makes them. There's only one guy that does it. His name is Yossi Altan, and he
Is it
does
because
it.
it's harder to make, or?
There's not the demand for it.
Lots-
There's not a demand for it. It's less. It doesn't last as well. Like if it falls, give it to a kid, bar mitzvah boy.
So the height is
It's not
different?
recommended. You can ruin it. You can't fix it either. Physically, it's not as strong. The gas is thick. Look at this. Look at this.
It's the durability.
The durability, yeah. Dakas is very delicate. I have it, but it's very thin. The whole thing is like this thin on the bottom. So if you're schwitzing a little bit and you're not careful, it can lose the ribua much quicker. It's much more delicate.
But how do you think the block?
Is there a way is there a way
It's fine.
to, like, if it like spreads out, fans out, is there a way
Can
to
you
like?
fix it?
Reshape
Yeah.
it?
There are techniques, but without putting glue in, which is not ideal. It's very hard that it should be a long-lasting solution. There's a way of doing it. There's like a trick that Abba Tanakh once told me. I'll show it to you. Over here, see this? Look, when you put pressure over here, the bias goes this. Okay. So how do you do pressure the other way?
What?
How do you make it that the pressure should go the other way? So what they do is if you slice out from here a little bit, make a little round, take out that, and then you put glue in here and you squish it down this way. You put pressure in the middle here, so now it's going to put pressure pulling inwards. Got that?
No,
Basically,
They use physics.
if you take out
Yeah.
some physics, yes. If you take someone told it's interesting. But again, it's you're gonna check it next time. It's gonna
But it doesn't.
if you take out a little bit of the height over here, slice out some of this, make a little round dome from the inside. You take out this piece of height here, and you press this down very strong. What's gonna happen?
Putting pressure in the middle.
If you put pressure in the middle, what's gonna happen? Right now, you cannot put pressure in the middle because there's nowhere to put pressure. But if I was to take out some of this part and I put pressure, very strong pressure in the middle, what's gonna happen? It's gonna push this in.
How did they become black?
With paint.
No, they're not paint.
I'm sorry?
About like 200 years ago, 1,000 years
The
ago.
paint, they paint. They're also they paint black paint. They would make it from from natural stuff. Yeah.
But it has to be black.
Yeah, the halacha mashma sinai with tzuos have to be black. The bias, it doesn't have to be black halacha mashma sinai. The Alter Rebbe says it's a mitzvah to be black, but it's not makiv. So if someone's bias is not black, it's yotza.
What's
If
the
the
tzua?
strap,
Strap.
if the strap is not black, it's halacha mashma sinai, not yotza.
And how does that turn black? Also from paint?
Today there's black and double-sided black. There's silver and black. That's it.
So I don't understand, how does it stay together without glue? How do the 4 parts stay together?
Which 4 parts? These.
Yeah,
It's like.
So they put pressure. They build it up in a way that it should be pressured towards the inside, and they put glue on the bottom. There's glue here. There is glue on the bottom. They put glue here in the crevices, and then they hold it down for a few days, and then it holds. Yeah,
Could the paint hold it, like, could the paint act
Paint-
as glue?
paint-
Like when you're,
it doesn't really hold. It could be like you could go like this, and you hear like a little click, and the paint is just like this. But it's not really. That's not glue. Paint is not strong.
thank you so much.
Very welcome. You guys get a good crash course because a lot of guys don't know half the stuff I just said. By the way. So when you get married, Mr. Hashem, you'll give your husband a lesson. I'm sure your husband has no idea what all these things that I said. Yeah, not your husband, your husband. So,
I've heard the word, I've heard some of these words before now.
so if
Yeah.
you're serious, they have to be completely black, like not even, like, there can't be any spots of white or anything like.
it's a good shot. If that's a spot, if it's still considered black.
On one side, is there also something about it, the black side always showing, like, black side facing up?
Also, you wanna speak about the.
Speaks about that, more about the Mezuzah, but it's not. The main thing is that it has to be black, and if there's a little tiny speck of dust of white, that's not a problem. If there's a white missing paint, substantial amount, or if you have any white on the Mezuzah, it's a halacha mashma sinai, so you don't take chances. You always go the chumrah. It's not a derabbanan, so they're right. So it's mamash a serious thing. So all these different things we're discussing is really that you should realize that there's a lot going into it, and it's very important to make sure that everything gets checked as much as possible. And if you're ever buying things, make sure that it's done right. There's a lot of details here. 99% kosher is 100% kosher.
How some film can be like very, very tiny.
And they're very talented sofer. Today, it's not so common, but they have Sfarad that way very small tefillin. In the Holocaust, they had
You know, yeah.
to hire
teeny.
them. It's very hard to write very small, but you have sofer who are very talented who could do it.
Not just
It's
the
definitely more difficult
top,
to-
it's also the.
Everything has to be small, but the most difficult part is the parshas to write the shaya and then to make it tiny and halachic with all the details and all the crowns and the kurtzi ben. It's very, very hard to write that small, but you have a very skilled.
More
sofer.
talented than those days.
Yeah.
They use
They
the
were
brains
scribes,
more.
they had to, yeah.
They use the
didn't
brains
take-
more. They didn't have ears to land their phone.
No, so much.
No.
It happens.
Is there
anything that we should know about how to, like, treat the children around, like, is it the same as sparring, is there anything like extra?
Smart. There's no comparison. The kedusha of tefillin and the sevatera to go sevatera tefillin and mezuzah. I love the kedusha. So sevatera is obviously the highest. Tefillin and mezuzah is much more higher level of kedusha than a sefer. Sefer you can put in gnizah, you put it. Tefillin mezuzah has to be put in cheres, plastic. There's a whole different. It's not a same thing as a printed sefer.
What is I've heard like my brothers say in the past, like if you drop tefillin, you have to fast for 40 days or something. Like practically, what if something happens?
Different answer for different days about it. If you drop tefillin, I wouldn't fast 40 days. I wouldn't take that risk, but you should do tshuva. I don't know.
And also in regards to women.
Ask her off.
Women at different stages, what women touching tefillin, touching.
So it says a secretary, you don't want to bring it to the women's section if they're, at certain stages, but tefillin mezuzahs is the same thing. I mean, women kiss mezuzahs. It's covered up.
Touching the parchment itself, like an open mezuzah like that.
It sounds like they might be for the same reason as secretary, in Nido, but I'm not sure if mezuzah and tefillin is the same thing. I don't know either. Could be. I'm not sure. If tefillin is the same as secretary, I would assume it is. I don't see why it would be different, even though Torah has a higher level of kedusha than a tefillin mezuzah, but it's I guess inside the kedusha, and I don't remember learning those halachas so much. I know Torah says you don't bring it to the, inside that's the reason, but I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't really fall on the floor.
Sorry?
But I was a bit mezuzah falls on the floor.
So you kiss it.
As a
I think it's not a
we
big
talk
deal.
about, as a concept, we
yeah,
talk about,
yeah.
we
Definitely
need
not
not to
done,
look
but
at the parchment of
That's
the
fine.
secretary directly.
Do you suggest that I get a mezuzah? The parchment itself.
Correct, that's the part I don't know.
What is that?
Meaning when they do.
Even like if it's through glass?
like, directly.
If someone's saying it should out a mezuzah, you can pick it up.
I don't know.
Now what?
I'm saying like you can pick it up, you can.
Right, or
Do you suggest
So
that I
that,
get
yeah, that's
new
okay.
mezuzahs
Based on that, I haven't.
They said that the parchment was cracked, so they fixed it.
Parchment was cracked or the letters were cracked?
They said the parchment was
It's better,
cracked.
so here's
Depends
the
whether it
thing.
was cracked.
And
It's
I don't even know
better
which mezuzah was, because
to
they mixed it up.
Definitely not the cut.
You bring it to us, I can tell you what I
If
see.
it's going to
Should I read
be
that?
like
It's
an
It depends on a lot of things, how badly, where was it cracked on the side, on that. So
Anything.
you can bring it to us.
sensitivity to
Should I
not.
recheck it? All, because it's all of it, I don't know which one
I
it
don't want
is.
to tell you to spend money, but I mean,
So for example,
definitely want
if
mezuzah
it's
to be
a
done right, I don't know.
If it's your son's bar mitzvah.
The next time you want to check your mezuzah, you can bring it to me.
Like, don't avoid going to shul, like. Go to shul.
Well,
but
that's
not
serious
to look
stuff.
directly.
Very serious stuff, yeah. I can tell you a lot of stories, but I gotta go to sleep. My wife might not be happy if I stay for too much longer. But other than that, if you have any questions, we have another few minutes. Any questions?
Do you also like make the parchment?
I don't make it myself. We would get it from companies that have shade, but I don't know.
Do you make the bottom?
By us, no, we get it from reliable places. There's different bathroom that we trust, the lavatories. And the Hechsher.
Is it okay if you put this sticky thing on the back? The
What?
mezuzahs, or better not?
Oh, yeah, we
What do you
forgot to ask
mean?
about that.
Someone told
Nailed,
me they're nailed in.
double-sided tape, how does
No
that?
problem, no problem with that. As long as it's covered on the door, double sided tape is 100% fine.
Taping it on from the outside.
Right.
As long as it's strong, as long as it's sturdy.
I'm saying you can take.
Scotch
regular,
tape, like around from,
As long as the mezuzah is not moving, it's not allowed to be, it has to be kavua. So as long as you feel like it's strong, if it's gonna fall down with the wind, it's,
Tape is something that you put on and off.
no, tape, as long as you tape things down, that's just it, when you fix a safe. Not a problem. Velcro is a shiloh. Some people say Velcro is not good because Velcro, the whole point of Velcro is to take it down. But if you have tape, which is a strong tape, so then why should it be a problem? Obviously, if you put screws are gonna hold better, but I'm saying.
Oh, interesting.
It's like somebody once told the Rebbe was, someone said that, they had a Gnave in the house, so the Rebbe said, maybe you should check the windows if it makes sure they're locked. Right, so some people come to me and say that my mezuzah fell down. I said, maybe you want to just put up a better tape or pull the screws. Just because it fell down doesn't mean that, that mezuzah is possible, I'm saying. Could we gotta just put up better?
Does a car?
You gotta get
mezuzah?
right by, her father, what's your first name? Okay. No, your first name.
Oh, mine, Ita.
Ita, right. So Ita's father, your father's name, I know.
Oh,
I just forgot yours. Your father is my mezuzah placement helper, and he is very thorough when it comes to making sure things done right. Someone just called me up and said, you were very good. Toby Kasimo, he's like, your father was, he's one of the bottom comments. He said, your father was excellent. You could tell. Yeah.
Does a car
He
need
broke
a
his foot,
mezuzah?
so he got him if you want to check his mezuzahs, huh?
Does a car need a mezuzah?
A car does not need a mezuzah me'ikar din. According to halacha, there's no chiyuv of mezuzah. However, the Rebbe gave Hirah pratis to people, like how do you say, private instruction. Mendel Drusen told me. Mendel Drusen passed away already. Chaim Drusen's father. He told me in 1970. The Rebbe told me to have mezuzah, but it wasn't Hirah clothing. B'shmir, mezuzah protects. Yeah.
Or to have it in the
To
car.
have in the car. No. The door is only when it's a chiyuv about the mezuzah. He carried it to put it like he put. Like the Rebbe said to put.
I've seen
The
people.
Rebbe said this is actually Hirah clothes. The Rebbe said.
Like if it's like a bigger car, like.
Maybe a
bus,
house car.
Doesn't make a difference if it's.
Oh, what about like a?
Cybertruck.
You have a- The Rebbe said that for Shmir, a person should have a tzedakah box and Sfarim in his car. Very
What
important.
if someone has a mobile home? They live in it or camp like in the summer?
It's different, probably different opinions, but Ikar did. If it's a movable thing, put mezuzah. It brings in Sfarim about a boat. Someone's living on a boat, So the same thing with if you live in a car, probably not.
My sister travels a lot, and sometimes she stays in my place for like long enough. To make sure to sleep before 30 days are up.
Wow, this was really, really insightful. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
We have that, yes, we actually have Ita's father who helps us with that. He works for us. Okay, great.